kicking off the last day of the Premier League season. Now on BBC Two, we've got every twist and turn, goal and gaff in Final Score.
Relegation.
He was one of the heroes of the afternoon.
Applause from the away supporters. The latest score is Wimbledon. Go through to the Premier.
John Terry's tears, we all remember. Two crucial weeks.
Hello and welcome to Final Score. Arsene Wenger and his Arsenal side have just kicked off their match at Newcastle. A win will secure Champions League football. Meanwhile, at White Hart Lane, Andre Villas-Boas will be hoping their rivals slip up and they can take advantage against Sunderland. Well, there are 8 other matches taking place this afternoon with a number of fond farewells happening up and down the country. Garth, Martin and Robbie are going nowhere. They're staying very much firmly ensconced in these seats and looking back on their memories of these seasons. And as always, we like to hear your opinions too and your questions, so you can do that through the BBC Sport website just using the BBC hashtag BBC Football when you tweet. So here are today's fixtures and the latest scores for you. Well, with about 7 or 8 minutes played, just the one goal that's just gone in there at the DW. Relegated Wigan haven't had the best start to their final afternoon in the Premier League. Villa have scored. We'll tell you the details of all that in a moment. But Darren Bent, who's started because Benteke is suspended, has scored that one, but it's goalless everywhere else. So let's go to Paul Addison and get the details from St James's Park. It's a big afternoon for Arsenal, and Alan Pardew's wiped away those earlier statements about not minding if their team are beaten 4-0.
Yes, he was joking, wasn't he, in the week, or he said he was when he came out with the quote that he wouldn't care if they lost 4-0. Well, they're not playing as if they wouldn't mind losing 4-0. Not a bad start to the match. Arsenal, as you would expect, having the lion's share of possession. We've seen one shot from Theo Walcott over the top of the Newcastle bar. That's the only threat from either side so far in the bright sunshine at St James's. So Arsenal on top so far. Newcastle having a bit of possession in the midfield. And on an afternoon of farewells, Steve Harper is making his final appearance for Newcastle today, and after 20 years at St James's Park, he's made 186 appearances in that time, and he's the captain of the side this afternoon as Papis Cisse has a left-footed shot from inside the area which loops over the top. It's still 0-0.
Well, now there is a chance that Arsenal and Chelsea could actually finish the season with identical records, which would mean a playoff next week. Well, Chelsea are taking on Everton, and there's a goal. Tony Husband can tell us all about it.
It's 1-0 to Chelsea with just 7 minutes on the clock. Juan Mata has won so many plaudits here at Chelsea this season. He's the player of the year, and he's had a relatively easy finish after Tim Howard failed to hold on to Demba Ba's shot. I think Howard will be disappointed. He really should have held on to the shot. It was an absolute gift for Mata, and Chelsea lead here on the day where they're saying farewell to Rafael Benitez, of course, and some fans actually are handing him some plaudits too with banners round the ground. David Moyes, an unhappy start to his final game in charge of Everton. Chelsea lead here by 1-0.
Well, it's match 1,500 for Sir Alex Ferguson this afternoon. His final game in charge is at West Brom, and Ivan Gaskell already has a goal to tell us about.
I certainly do. 6 minutes into this one, and Sir Alex is ahead. His United side are doing him proud so far. Extraordinary moment, actually. The United fans are having a huge party to my right. There was a big red flare thrown, a sort of smoking flare thrown into the Manchester United penalty area. It was hurriedly taken off the pitch, and suddenly play switched from that area to the other end. Cleverley's long racing and raking pass into the corner. It was a lost cause, seemingly not given up by Hernandez. Hernandez's cross was excellent, and there was Kagawa. He ghosted in, unmarked, at the near post, headed down, in it went. United are ahead here.
Thank you, Ivan. You can see the goal there on the video printer from Darren Bent. Let's hear all about it. We'll go straight to the DW Stadium.
Yes, Bent making a rare start in the absence of Benteke, who's suspended, and he struck inside 5 minutes, right-footed, low past Al-Habsi in the Wigan goal. There's a party atmosphere here. Wigan celebrating their FA Cup success. We had a chorus of Abide With Me before kick-off, and the Villa fans away to my left, plenty of fancy dress. I can see Zippy from Rainbow, Father Christmas, and any other number of fancy dress outfits, but Bent has punctured the atmosphere for the Wigan fans. Villa lead 1-0.
Thank you. Well, we've heard about Arsenal at St James's Park, and Tottenham need to beat Sunderland and hope Newcastle can do them a favour there. Well, how is part 2 of the equation going? Jonathan Ledyard.
Well, if you're looking for a goal, there is no goal. So Guy Mowbray, who promised for Match of the Day viewers that there would be an early goal and it was going to be Gareth Bale, has had to wait so far. 9 minutes played. But the home side, despite the urgings, the entertainment from Paolo Di Canio, who's giving a virtuoso performance already in his technical area. Tottenham have forced 3 early corners. Adebayor involved in an early chance as well. Mignolet pushing it around the post. Spurs have the upper hand, but yet to really force a breakthrough. Mass ranks by the Sunderland defence. The sun is out, but Spurs have yet to score. 0-0.
Thank you, Jonathan. So let's just take stock for a moment. It's been a pretty impressive turnaround from Arsenal. They were 9th in the middle of October, 3 wins out of their first 8 games. It was a slow start with a slump afterwards, and here they are in control on the final day of the season.
It's all credit to them and to their manager of their mental strength, really, getting back in it, still believing in one another. Looking at it, Arsenal are passing the ball to death, not really creating anything. But if I look at the Tottenham match, they look a lot more assertive in possession. Certainly Gareth Bale pulling the strings.
I'll come back to you in just a moment, because there is another goal for Ivan Gaskell to tell us about at the Hawthorns.
And United are 2 ahead. There was a bit of a distraction again. It's incredible how this is unfolding here at the Hawthorns. At one end of the pitch, a United fan sprinted from the West Brom section right across and tried to make it into the United supporters. Eyes were distracted, and at the other end, as like before with the smoking flare, United attacked. The ball was turned into the West Brom goal. They're 2 up in... That's Alex Ferguson's last game as a United manager. He couldn't have dreamt of this. You guys might be able to talk me through the game and the goal.
Thank you, Ivan. Yeah, it was definitely an OG.
Olsen's having one. He was responsible for the first goal. He's got Hernandez one-on-one by the corner flag. Gives him so much time. Hernandez can still put a beautiful ball into the box from there. It should never happen. That's the first goal, and he converts the second pass into his own net. I somehow feel that Olsen thinks the season's already finished.
It looks like Bambi on ice, to be fair. You know, look, when the ball's out wide, what you want is your defenders not to panic. You know, there's no need for him to go to ground there. It's making it so easy for Manchester United. It's just a possession at the moment. OK, let's go back to your thoughts on Arsene Wenger and Arsenal and the season that has got them to this stage where a win will do it. That will secure Champions League football. Without that win, or with a Tottenham win and a draw for Arsenal, no Champions League football. Unthinkable that Arsene Wenger, in this successful tenure he's had as manager, would have a season without Champions League football. Exactly, and you think to where we've come from as a football club, going unbeaten for a whole season, and then season after season it's kind of slipped away, but still getting into the Champions League. And if they can do that this year, then there's no real damage done. Arsenal nearly scoring there from Keown from a corner, but it doesn't look convincing at the moment watching the Arsenal game. Why do you think, Robbie, it is that there is a large body of opinion, and I think Martin sits within that even without Champions League football, Arsene Wenger should go nowhere, and yet with other clubs, a season without a trophy is not enough?
We're looking last year, from the major trophy winners. Kenneth Dalglish left. Nearly goal at Newcastle. Liverpool by winning the Capital One Cup. Di Matteo went for winning the Champions League and the FA Cup. Roberto Mancini's now gone from Man City after winning the league, so I don't really know, I think, because he's produced so many young... I think what the difference is now is that when he got the likes of Henry, Petit, Vieira, he got them at such a young age, or they weren't matured, and he made them into world-class players. Now I think everybody just buys the top players. And Arsenal don't go into that next bracket of £25-30 million players. There's a level of sympathy because he's what he's trying to achieve, and a lot of clubs have respect for that because he's trying to do it within the sort of constraints that he's got. He still has plenty of money. They won trophies, though. They've got to win a trophy at some point. Well, that is the next challenge now. You've got to get that balance right. And teams have come along since. If you look at Everton, I feel that they've got some very good players now that maybe could have found their way into an Arsenal team, and Arsenal could have afforded to buy them. So the quality of player that he chooses has to improve, as it did in the
But it's why players go, isn't it? Because I know Vertonghen had the option of going to Arsenal, Garth, and he chose Tottenham. Where do you view Andre Villas-Boas this season? If they don't qualify for the Champions League, has that been a success?
Well, I think he's taken the club on well enough to match Harry Redknapp, and that is challenge for a Champions League spot. Today, he could have actually done better than Harry, all for different reasons, but that's his challenge.
We'll see by 6 o'clock. Let's just go straight, though, to Stamford Bridge. Tony Husband has another goal. Who scored it?
1-1 equaliser for David Moyes' Everton, and it came after a mistake by David Luiz. So much has been talked about his improvement under Rafa Benitez, but he was at fault here. He gave the ball away, and Achibi made a break towards the penalty area, and then he set up Naismith, who was clear right down the middle, into the box, 12 yards out, finished well. 1-1, very open and entertaining game at the moment.
Thank you, Tony. Let's go to the Hawthorns. A bit of trouble there, I understand, within the crowd, Ivan.
Yeah, this was always likely to happen. I can tell you for a fact that just before this game started today that there were United fans offering £1,000 to West Brom fans quite openly as they came into the ground for their seat today. And West Brom have been very concerned all week at season ticket holders potentially selling their tickets for inflated prices and therefore having United fans in West Bromwich Albion areas. And when that second goal went in, I'm afraid it was too much for a few United fans who clearly got tickets, perhaps in ways they shouldn't have done. And there were some nasty scenes where fights were breaking out, and I saw at least 5, maybe 6 United supporters taking quite a beating and then being led out by eventually the stewards that sort of came in to rescue them, really. So pretty unsavoury stuff. United's fans are, as you can imagine, in boisterous mood here. Let's hope that's the last of the unsavoury stuff.
It's always disappointing to hear about that kind of behaviour, isn't it?
This was being flagged up as early as Tuesday or Wednesday this week, and I'm just surprised they've not sorted it out in this day and age with the ticketing situation as it should be. It's a situation that we could have avoided, I think.
But the individuals that have sold their tickets, those season tickets should find their ways to the authorities, and they should never be allowed to have season tickets again in the future.
But it's also the behaviour. You
can't stop. It's human nature. These guys want to go and watch their team pick up.
Yeah, but why can you not sit side by side with a fan of another club? Which is
well, you'd have thought of today, of all days.
One's champions, one's safe. What is the fight about?
Yeah, well, as somebody who does a lot of rugby, and you see fans mingling completely side by side within the ground, it's quite frustrating that football.
These are their territory. This is their territory within the ground, and they feel that we can't have somebody from outside of it.
But Martin, I'm getting rather sort of irritated by this attitude that football seems to have, that you don't get another form of employment. There's a mood within football that seems to accept things, and they don't challenge things. The situation that's happened at Stoke City, it's banter. It's not banter. It's pigs put in people's lockers. It's stupid. You get other forms of behaviour that you get in the dressing room
that are unacceptable in the rest of
society.
society.
Of society, and football just allows it to continue. So I'm sorry, I think that we've come into a time.
You've had banter in dressing rooms. They've gone too far. But in your day, it wasn't reported as much.
It was reported.
Not as much. No, I'm not having that.
Scummy.
I'm not having that.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't. But I don't think it was reported as much in your day with all the cameras and all this.
I can't speak for other clubs. I'm speaking in my dressing room. Right. There's certain dressing rooms it won't happen. It won't happen at Old Trafford. It seldom happens at Arsenal, and it often reflects the manager. But as a mood in football, they accept things in football you don't have in other forms of employment. And it should stop. It's ridiculous. And this is a symptom of it. People are going in. Man United have won the Championship. West Brom is safe. What are you fighting for? Can't you celebrate the game? It's nonsense.
We would hope so, but apparently not. That's obviously what's happened there. Let's move on, though, now. It's another interesting week at Manchester City. They sack their title-winning manager, Roberto Mancini, a year to the day that Sergio Aguero scored that amazing goal. So Brian Kidd is in charge today, and Will Perry is watching them take on Norwich. And reports of Italian flags would indicate some support and sympathy with Mancini. And even Man City fans, I think, this week have conceded it was without class to kind of sack him on the day of the anniversary, wasn't it?
Well, I can definitely confirm the reports, Gabby, that there are plenty of Italian flags here. There are plenty of Italian banners and confetti that's been thrown in the air and support for Mancini, that is for sure. Bizarre timing, isn't it? As I said before, what a difference a year makes. It's still Manchester City 0, Norwich 0 on the pitch. We played 19 minutes. For the City fans, though, this was supposed to have been the game where the FA Cup was paraded, Gabby, before them. Deservedly beaten, of course, by Wigan. Roberto Mancini sacked. It's been a turbulent week, hasn't it, for last year's champions. The atmosphere is on the polar opposite end to that here against QPR 12 months ago, that is for sure. The chants of Mancini have echoed round the Etihad this afternoon. The caretaker, Brian Kidd, watches on from the dugout. Is Manuel Pellegrini watching back home in Malaga. City have 8 points incredibly fewer than this stage last season. They've been second best for sure this season. 5 changes though from the Reading win on Tuesday. Aguero, Silva, Barry, Clichy and Kolo Toure drop out. In come Dzeko, Nasri, Rodwell, Kolarov and Zabaleta. Norwich finished 12th last season. Chris Hughton had a bit of a mid-season wobble, didn't he? But they could finish 10th today if results go their way, despite that little wobble. Stephen Whittaker starts in place of Sebastian Bassong. 20 goals between these two in the last 3 meetings. That's some stat, isn't it? 15 have gone to City. The chances so far, Edin Dzeko headed over the bar from a Milner cross, and Dzeko had a header held by John Ruddy in the Norwich net. And Norwich came pretty close as well. Grant Holt did well to turn Jolyon Lescott, and his shot was wide. It's still goalless, Gabby.
Thank you very much. It's the 19th minute, incidentally, so the applause is ringing out at the DW Stadium for Stilian Petrov, just one of a number of players, of course, announcing their retirement, of course, Petrov, for different reasons this season. Well, actually, we're going to go straight to the DW, and Damien Johnson can tell us why there's more cheering there.
Well, as the applause was ringing out for Stilian Petrov, Wigan have counter-attacked and scored an equaliser through Emerson Boyce. It was a raid down the left-hand side, Espinosa's ball, and Boyce rose highest ahead past Brad Guzan. 1-1.
It's disgraceful. Well. Huge debate has broken out here as to whether... well, I'll let Jonathan Ledyard explain.
Spurs are up in arms, and I think most people are as well, because that seemed to be a clear push on Gareth Bale by Sebastian Larsson. Bale away, beautiful pass, I think it was from by Adebayor. He was through. Larsson was desperately keeping pace in an unfamiliar right-back roll. Down went Bale. Andre Mariner, FA Cup referee last weekend, now the centre of certain storm among Spurs fans, because then he got waved away all claims of penalties and then produced a yellow card for the Footballer of the Year. Still 0-0, temperature rising, Spurs on top.
I didn't do my physics GCSE, but even if you get pushed, you have to roll 6 times to the left.
That was when the referee gave the decision of the yellow card to his... It was a definite penalty. He's pushed him over. Penalty for me, Garth.
I go with your
I think it's very theatrical, and it doesn't really look like
a penalty. He's pushed him.
No, you cannot be that certain of what you've seen.
On the TV.
He takes a big drop. He makes a lot of
it. After he goes down.
Yeah. I think that his reputation goes against him because of this drama that he throws into.
He's pushed him.
Andre Mariner.
I think the referee's right.
Andre Mariner, Gabby, owes Gareth Bale
an apology. Correct, Gaff. I'm with you in that one. What's pushed him there? Hey!
It would appear he was pushed, looking at that angle.
There's an arm on his back.
If
he carries on, he scores.
Is there a middle ground? Is there a middle ground we can agree on here that the theatricals were a bit over the top?
No, that was when the ref... No, that's when the ref given the yellow card. He was, to his amazement, he's rolled round.
Correct.
When you're amazed, do you tend to roll around on the floor? Is that how you react?
He was lucky he didn't get a yellow card for rolling around as well. He was lucky to be on the pitch after that.
He's winding us up.
It doesn't. You'll see it yourself later on Match of the Day. You'll have your own opinions. But let's go straight to Anfield, I think, because there's a goal there. Let's go, Richard Askham.
Yes, hi, Gabby. It's all about Jamie Carragher here today, but it's another man, quite a different player altogether, Philippe Coutinho, who has put Liverpool 1-up. He's threatened twice before. He had a shot blocked and a header cleared off the line, which, from my vantage point, looked as though it had gone over the line. This time, he found room just inside the penalty area and struck an unerring shot beyond Robert Green to give Liverpool the lead. Jamie Carragher, before kick-off, Gabby, came out to what you can imagine was a tremendous ovation. It's his last game here after 16 years, his 737th appearance, and he's just seen, as he skippers the side today, Liverpool take the lead.
We'll talk more about Jamie Carragher, of course, but I think we need to go to St Mary's. Hamish Marshall. No, we don't. Let's go to Liberty Stadium. Ian Hunt, you've got a goal for us.
We have, Gabby, with 23 minutes played. Fulham, to their relief, really, having been on such a wretched run of form recently, have taken the lead. It's Alexander Kacaniklic who's got it, threading the ball low past the restored Michel Vorm. Lovely bit of play in midfield. Eno slipping it through, and Berbatov with a lovely back flick involved in the build-up for Fulham. Swansea will rue the fact they wasted 2 great chances. Hernandez putting the ball wide twice when he was in space there. Should have put Swansea ahead, but it's Fulham who lead as they look to put a run to an end of 5 successive defeats recently, and perhaps finish as high as 10th in the Premier League table if results go their way. Swansea looking for the win that could put them 8th, but it is Fulham who lead with 24 minutes gone by 1-0.
You got a goal? Have you got a goal for me? Yes. Let's go straight to Upton Park. It's Reading's final game in the Premier League, but Andrew James, it's not them who've scored.
No, it's West Ham United that have scored. Fortunate, though, it's come from a mix-up between the goalkeeper, Alex McCarthy, and one of his defenders, which allowed Kevin Nolan, the West Ham captain, to sneak in. Guthrie kicked his clearance straight at Andy Carroll. Nolan, who was up there, capitalised and put the loose ball over the line. Prior to that, a couple of good chances for Reading from Pogredniak and Guthrie as well. But as the West Ham fans celebrate Sam Allardyce signing his 2-year contract, message there to the Chelsea fans, perhaps, get behind your manager. The good times are here and the bubbles are blowing at West Ham. West Ham 1, Reading 0.
Thank you, Andrew. And we nearly got to you a few moments ago, Hamish Marshall, so let's quickly get to you at the St Mary's before somebody else decides to score a goal. What's going on?
We played 25 minutes. It's Southampton 0, Stoke 0. Just as well you didn't come to me. Not a lot has happened as these two battle out for what could be a top 10 finish. Not bad when you think that both had their Premier League status secured only last week. Ricky Lambert had a ball in the back of the net. That was chopped off. He's also headed over as well. But apart from that, very little to report. Southampton 0, Stoke 0.
A goal at the Etihad. Will Perry.
Gone to the Manchester City script. It's Manchester City 0, Norwich 1, and it's a mix-up at the back. It's Kolo Touré who initially gives the ball away. Then about 3 other City players are involved in a bit of sloppy defending just outside the box. And it's Anthony Pilkington who just nips in, right-footed, curls it into the bottom right-hand corner. I'm just looking. I think it might have got a little touch off Yaya Touré. He was sliding into the ball at the last minute, but it's Pilkington who gets the goal, and it's Norwich who have the lead. Manchester City 0, Norwich 1.
Thank you very much, Will. Not exactly going with form there, but let's have a little chat about them and the whole way that Mancini's departure was handled. You've said repeatedly over the last few weeks, Robbie, that you felt he would be there next season. I think that was probably more wishful thinking, maybe, was it?
Well, I think he deserved another 6 months at least to see, I think, the failings in the Champions League were his undoing, and if you listen to reports in national newspapers, the unrest in the dressing room. You know, players have maybe been against him, and I think in that FA Cup final, I think some of the players' performances were a disgrace, if I'm being honest. That when you cross that white line, you play.
The first time that this club say he was dismissed because of poor communication with the players and his relationship with executives in the club as well. They wanted a more holistic approach to running the football club.
Yeah, well, it was okay last season, and the fact at times they went to Old Trafford and won this season. Yeah, they were far behind United in the league. They didn't win a trophy, but for them. In one national paper, there was reports of texts being swapped between players and a member of the national press that I think one text said that when they lost, they were at the bar when they lost the cup final, to say that, he's got to get the sack now. I think if players are doing that is shocking.
I think they're essentially, if you're winning games of football and winning the FA Cup, not winning was a major shock last weekend. You can manage the club almost in any way you want to. He's got a very bullish way of managing as a manager.
Does, yeah.
They don't like him, the players. That's okay if they're winning games. But suddenly when it turns on its head as it does this time, it seemed to be unsavoury that the players were suggesting. I don't think for a minute they were going into a cup final and not trying. Those opportunities come along.
So what do you think? Do you think he should have got the sack then?
Well, what I was looking at, and when they won the league like they did last year, and you're a winner, you have to be ruthless and you go and buy the necessary players to take that away from Manchester United.
Yeah, I agree
he didn't do that.
Who didn't do that? Was that him or the hierarchy?
I've no idea. But what he didn't do was work well enough for the ones he did have, and he lost his players. And the way they performed in the FA Cup was indicative of their performance through the season. They weren't focused. They were easy-ozy in their performance. They didn't take. His comments after the game were shocking, saying that, look, they scored in the 90th minute, we had no time to respond. They had 90 minutes to win the game, and they didn't go and do it. And they didn't play like champions at any point this season, and I think that comes from the manager.
Ooh, Man United's away.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
Chelsea in the semi-final.
For the season, they didn't turn up like champions.
You don't think... OK,
what about Norwich, when they played at Norwich, the way they played?
They finished second in the league, Martin. They hammered Man United away. They
could have won it back-to-back seasons.
Who scored now, anyway? Jack Rodwell.
Thanks for that.
Let's
go to Will Perry at the Etihad.
Well, they have scored, Robbie, Gabby. It's Manchester City 1, Norwich 1, and this is one of the players who's had a lot of stick because it was a Mancini signing, and it's Jack Rodwell who's got the goal, and it sort of fell to him on a plate right on the penalty spot. and Rodwell's just smashed that into the top right corner past John Ruddy. And of course it was those signings, wasn't it? It was the signings of Rodwell, of Sinclair, of Garcia and Maicon that Mancini apparently didn't get the signings he wanted in the summer transfer window. And he wanted reportedly players from Bayern Munich and wasn't given the money, and the transfer policies of Brian Marwood, who's now been moved over to the academy. There's a lot of things you'll read about Manchester City in the papers. There's a lot of stories that, and I know Robbie's been talking about a few of them. How many of them are true, I'm sure we'll never find out unless Roberto Mancini will come out and do some sort of interview afterwards. But it's one of those controversial signings. It's taken a while to sort of warm to the City hearts. He's far from done that yet. He looks, of course, a very decent young player. But he's got a lot of work to do to win these Manchester City fans around. He's got the goal so far. Manchester City 1, Norwich 1.
There was much derision, thank you, Will. There was much derision about the use of the word holistic, that he didn't have a holistic approach to running the club, which implied perhaps there were certain parts of his job that they felt he neglected. Some managers seem to be better at communicating with players than others. Some managers seem to be better at developing young players than others. What do Man City want? When they say holistic, do they want to bring somebody in who's won trophies, can develop players, has a good record at buying players? What does that mean for you?
Well, I think Pellegrini's going to come in. I think he'd probably be more of a coach on the training ground. But if he doesn't win a trophy this coming season, will he get the sack? He's going to be able to invest in He's going to be able to invest in the summer, yeah, in big signings. If he doesn't win a trophy end of that season, what's going to happen?
What they're talking about, Gabby, you're talking about a learning type environment. There's lots of photographs of Mancini pointing fingers at players, getting into fights with players. You can't have that. I know that's that sort of approach sometimes from the Italians, but they're looking for a much calmer approach, a much more intellectual, intelligent approach. We had it with Arsene Wenger. Nice guys can win things if you get the right atmosphere. They tell me that Sir Alex Ferguson is a wonderful person to be around. Van Persie's talking about him being a nice guy. Yes, but he essentially knows how to treat people. And I think sometimes you look at the communication, you look at the body language of a player coming off the pitch, and something wasn't right with Mancini. Too many arguments, too many flare-ups, and you need that solid base to win things.
Martin, that's not fair. Jaap Stam, Van Nistelrooy, Ronaldo, there are too many. You can't... That's a statement, it's wrong.
Beckham,
Sir Alex Ferguson will have those rows when it needs to. If you the question about holistic, for me, holistic is you better in the modern day game have a team of people who can do the things that you can't.
Yeah.
If you can't handle that man management, get somebody you can. You need a team of people, and that's where the manager.
But Sir Alex, when he gets rid of Stam, he's already been in the job a number of years. He is the Manchester United story, so he becomes more and more powerful each year, so he can get rid of the likes of Stam.
What's success for Man City now, then?
Mancini wasn't in a powerful enough position to behave the way he was.
He was the manager.
They hadn't won anything for 30-odd years, so the fans loved him. But within the club, he was undoing himself, and all it comes from is just behaviour towards the players. Once you lose the players, Garth, you're out.
I agree with you, but I'm saying to you that a manager in the modern-day game, unless you're Wenger, you can't do everything. And perhaps one of Wenger's weaknesses is that he wants to do everything. In the modern game, as far as I'm concerned, I think you've got to have a team of people that can actually do the jobs and help you do the job for you.
Let's leave it there for a moment, because there's another goal at the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell.
Well, I guess you could argue what a way to go. 1500th game for Manchester United, his swan song, and his team are doing him proud. United 3 up now, and it was an absolutely wonderful move. Lovely touches, quick movement, speed of thought too, and there was Alexander Butner on an overlapping run, completely free, wonderful ball to find him, and the finish was equal to it. United are absolutely coasting. They've got their flip-flops on.
Thank you very much. Let's go to St James's Park. Nobody on the beach there, I'm imagining, Paul Addison. This has got to be intense.
Well, do you know what? It's all a bit of an anti-climax so far, Gabby. Newcastle have actually been the better side in the last 20 minutes or so. Arsenal started very well. They were passing the ball around very neatly indeed without creating any clear-cut chances. Then Newcastle came into their own really for a little spell. Gouffran up front looking particularly lively. His cross almost found Papi Cissé, but he couldn't quite get on the end of it. Then Gouffran had a shot wide for himself. As for Arsenal, they've just sprung into life the last couple of minutes. Kieran Gibbs down the left teed up Santi Cazorla, but he chipped his shot over the top. I think Arsene Wenger's a little bit ruffled here because his side aren't performing as he'd like them to. He's taken his suit jacket off and standing with his hands on his hips and not looking very happy at all. It's 0-0.
A nervy Arsenal performance, it sounds like, it's in James's Park. What about Tottenham? Are they playing with the shackles off? Let's find out. Jonathan Ledyard.
They are, but it's 0-0, and there's growing frustration, I'd say, around White Hart Lane. The sun's gone in, it's rather grey overhead, and that reflects the mood in a sense. We've just had a chance a couple of minutes ago for Sunderland as well. Their only real chance, only Forey, serious threat this half, really, just a few moments ago. Danny Graham down the right-hand side, and Connor Wickham in the side for Danny Rose. Had a shot from close range, which Laurie somehow got to, and a chance for Adebayor, well taken by Mignolet, just breaking into the Sunderland area, but that was a real chance, and Lloris, who'd absolutely had to do nothing at all until that moment, was really good to keep that chance out. The first corner for Sunderland. Since then, the home side have come back, but they can't get that breakthrough. 0-0.
Thank you. Let's go to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea occupying that third berth at the moment. That could change, though, if Arsenal got a win, and they didn't, Tony Husband. We've already heard there could be an extraordinary, unprecedented playoff next week, but at the moment, it's theirs.
Yes, at the moment it is still farewell Rafa, and there's actually a banner up behind one of the goals here from a section of Chelsea fans. Thank you, Rafa, job done. But it's kind of thanks, but we'd still like you to go, perhaps, is their kind of feeling about this. Couple of chances since I was last with you. 1-1, remember, Naismith had equalised. Darren Gibson, a few moments later, hit a shot from about 25 yards. It hit the post, bounced back and hit Czech, then ricocheted again onto the post and bounced away to safety. Moments later, Torres headed wide from Ivanovic cross. Aki has shot over as well, and Juan Mata has also gone close to doubling his account for the day. 10 minutes to half-time, 1-1.
So, Chelsea secured two major things this week. Firstly, Rafa Benitez and his side won the Europa League, and then the club confirmed a new one-year deal for Frank Lampard. We sent Garth to meet the club's all-time leading record scorer.
Well, you announced it. You've signed the contract.
Yes, finally.
Happy?
Very happy, very happy. It was something that I've made clear I wanted to happen. You know, come January time, when there was the talk that I might be leaving at come the end of the season, I hadn't been playing much, I've been injured, a new manager was in, I was sort of in and out of the side, so it's understandable. You have to accept reality at 34 years of age. You're not 25 anymore, and people will talk, and when your contract's ending that summer, so I got to grips with that. I'm lucky to have been here 12 years, and I got my head down, and I've got the reward of a contract in the end, which is fantastic for me because I love being here. It was another great night for all of us, and celebrations went on for a while on the pitch in the dressing room, and we made our way back. I think we'll all be defined by that success, and hopefully we can finish off on Sunday with getting third place in the league, and then we have to go away and say we've all done a good job.
Jose, there's a lot of talk of him coming back. Can you repeat the success that he had when he first came here?
I believe so. His talent and ability as a manager for me is the best. Certainly the best I've worked with. So it would be a great relationship, him coming back here. I just think he'll take the club on again. And in what direction, I don't know. It gets harder every year to win the Premier League. It gets harder every year to win the Champions League. But with him at the helm, you're going to give it a great go.
Before we chat further on that, I'll just tell you that West Ham have now gone 2-0 up against Reading. But we'll get more details on that in a moment. But let's talk a bit about Frank and the importance for Chelsea of securing his signature for another year. He's getting his golden boot before the match there from Bobby Tamlin for his 203 goals for Chelsea from midfield, and just an incredible effort and record.
Absolutely outstanding. I think I first came across Frank, played for England in his very first game. What struck me about him from a young man was how professional he was, how dedicated and focused. He was the son of a former player, but he put that to one side and he wanted to be the best he possibly could be. And breaking from midfield, I don't think we've seen a better player in our time.
Will
the
he
goals
have
he
to
scored.
adapt that role, do you think, next season? You know, he's signed another year. He's not been an ever-present this season. Will we see him playing a bit deeper, do you think?
Well, I think in that too, the way if Mourinho comes back and he plays the two-hold, I think Frank can play in that position. I think his passing is very underrated. He can ping the ball out wide. Yeah, he's done it for England. But I haven't played against him for many years. You know, the way he used to run off you and, you know, get into positions where you just couldn't track him. You think to pass him on to your centre-half, but you couldn't. He's just an amazing player. And for me, him and Gerrard, I would say my time in the Premier League are the two best players I played against. I'd even put them in terms of the way they were ahead of Vieira and Keown.
High praise, indeed. And it was just a shame that they could never really seem to gel for England together.
It was because I think neither one of them was perhaps prepared to at their peak to sit in midfield, and that might well have been Gerrard, who was better equipped to play both deep and ahead of the attack. and they've often got in each other's way a little bit.
I think Martin's nail on the head about being very, very professional. I think that strikes you when you watch the way he conducts himself, Frank Lampard. But in terms of England, sometimes you've got to work it out. You've got very, very top players who are not prepared to work it out, form a partnership. Sometimes someone take a lesser role than the other one. If you can't work that out, sometimes one suffers.
Who would you have? Who'd pick one?
If I had to pick one,
yeah.
I'd have to pick Gerrard, but I'll be criticised because then you lose your goals.
I think that's a decision we need to make at the end of their careers, because I would have said Gerrard at
Arsenal! Offside anyway.
Oh. Podolski. Steve Harper playing his last game, by the way, for Newcastle. Looks like he's pulled off a great save.
20 years a servant for Newcastle. He's been out on loan plenty of times to other places. He's been in and out of the shirt. But on the day when Jamie Carragher, as a one-club servant, is leaving his club, we should mention Stevie Harper as well.
I think Podolski's been given offside, and in the end, Steve Harper rescues them. It's a great save, but he wasn't offside.
He wasn't offside.
But he's been given offside by the ref.
Offside. OK, let's hope that's not a decision that Arsene Wenger has to mull on too much later on, if it is an erroneous one. But let's talk a bit more about Chelsea and their future and the futures of certain key personnel, because John Terry's future also in the balance. Do you see him staying with Chelsea?
I see him staying there. I don't think he'll play much. I think, but when he has played this season, I don't think he's been at his best. I think he's lost that extra yard of pace. And I think there's better centre-halves at the club. Ivanovic, who scored the goal. Outstanding. Cahill, you know, his block in the last minute, that Europa League final, was immense. So I think there's two people ahead of him.
I'm sure they'll buy. Keep him within the setup.
Keep him within the setup, because he is a legend. You're looking at a legend at Chelsea, you know, and what he's done for that football club. I don't think you can just get rid of people that easy.
I've seen John Terry play a lot. When he has played at Chelsea, he's been very influential. He hasn't lost a lot, if anything, at all. I think the concern for Rafa has been he's done what AVB has failed to do, and perhaps Ancelotti to a lesser degree, because Ancelotti was excellent at Chelsea, is manage the transition. No one's been able to manage the transition quite like Rafa Benitez. When you look back on his term, that is his abiding success. Mata, Hazard and Oscar, he's brought them in. Ramirez now is become a fixture. OK, the rotation that affects Lampard and Terry has just
taking the reins away, isn't it? From
the next just a little bit.
There's timing as well and all that.
I think that there was a suggestion, Gabby, that Mourinho and Terry fell out when Mourinho left the first time round, and I think that will tell us a lot about their relationship, whether or not, if Mourinho comes in, he allows Terry to stay at the club, because he's such a powerful character that he might want to go abroad and play his football.
OK, let's move on back to St James's Park. You can tell us a bit about that offside decision against Podolski. Paul Addison.
Yes, Gabby, it was a tight one as well, as Martin was saying. Didn't look offside when we saw the replays, but Steve Harper did pull off an excellent save and got a bit winded for his troubles on his final Newcastle appearance. Walcott's ball through, and of course Podolski was onside, you would have to say, after seeing the replay. That offside aside is the closest Arsenal have been since you were last with me. It is very nervy here. Thomas Rositzky's gone in the book as a result of dissent, perhaps getting a bit frustrated. Cross coming into the Newcastle penalty area now, and it's headed behind for a corner by Debuchy. So Arsenal just their second corner of the half. Newcastle have had 3 and a couple of decent chances, the latest of which was Hatem Ben Arfa run down the right hand side onto his left foot, and a shot that went narrowly over the top. But Arsenal have a corner. It is still nervy, it is still goalless.
Thank you. Let's go straight to the Hawthorns. Another goal, but Ivan Gaskell the other way this time.
Yes, you know, West Brom have been in danger of being embarrassed in this first half. Such has been the command that Manchester United have inflicted on them from the very first moment that Sir Alex Ferguson was applauded all the way onto the pitch by both teams forming a guard of honour. United seem to take over the whole day, the whole ground, but there's been an opportunity for West Brom supporters at last to smile. It was a neat move as well, and maybe it's just given them a little bit of a foothold in a game that was rapidly slipping away from them. Doran's low cross picked out James Morrison. He nipped in first, hit it low, in it went, and it's 3-1.
So it's all square at St James's Park. Jonathan Ledyard, Tottenham looking like they're going to get a goal in this game at White Hart Lane?
Well, they're doing everything to score, but they've yet to find the back of the net because Simon Mignolet is having an outstanding match. I was watching Reading's Alex McCarthy and Joe Hart play brilliantly earlier in the week, and Mignolet's right in that class at the moment. Just a few moments ago, stopping a real pile driver from Gareth Bale, and then a real salmon leap by Adebayor in the centre of the goal from a free kick. But yet again, Mignolet jumped even higher. It's a great performance by the Sunderland goalkeeper, but that tells you why Spurs are confident they can breach this rear guard. It's still 0-0, just a minute or so before half-time.
Let's go back to Stamford Bridge. Tony Husband was enjoying an open game earlier on. No signs of a hangover from Chelsea after their midweek exploits in the Europa Cup?
Well, certainly not in terms of the game. It's very open and there are chances almost every few seconds at both ends. Frank Lampard, you've just been talking about his contribution to Chelsea, where you would have absolutely staked your life on him scoring just a few moments ago. It was a lovely move which Chelsea set up from the right, involving Barr and then eventually Lampard, and he was right clean through into the penalty area. You certainly would score, and he actually blazed it wide. Before that, though, Stephen Pienaar had gone close twice for Everton, who were very much in this game. Just approaching half-time, still 1-1.
Jamie Carragher's last game for Liverpool. How's it going at Anfield? Richard Askham.
Yeah, Liverpool have upped it a little bit since they got the opening goal through Philip Coutinho, Gabby. And Jamie Carragher is noted for many things, but not for scoring goals. He's only scored 5 in his whole career. But I tell you what, it looks as though he's determined to try and cap his final appearance in the most unlikely way. His teammates are doing everything to try and set him up. He was on the end of a set piece, got a shot away that was blocked. He was also involved in a rather comic moment where he went up for a header with Robert Green at the back post and ended up punching the ball, a little like Maradona, but with not with the same subtlety. But yeah, Liverpool very much in control. Loic Remy's had a shot that was just went past Pepe Reina's post, but apart from that, it's been all Liverpool and all eyes on Jamie Carragher.
Thank you. The FA Cup holders, Wigan up against Aston Villa. We were so certain a few weeks ago that this was going to be the deciding match for the final relegation berth. As it is, Wigan down, but still fighting. Damien Johnson there?
Yeah, it's not the damp squib that we perhaps expected with the relegation issues now settled. It's an open and entertaining game, actually. Both sides playing with a lot of freedom. The shackles are off slightly. Bent gave Villa the lead early with that right foot strike. And then just as Villa fans were doing their traditional round of applause for Stilian Petrov, Wigan broke away Espinosa's ball into the middle, and there was Emerson Boyce with a firm header to equalise. Maloney's gone close with a free kick since then. It's, well, we're in injury time now at the end of the first half. It's 1-1.
And let's check in. It's 1-1 as well at the Etihad with Will Perry. Tevez having a little bit of handbags there.
Yeah. He right in front of the referee Mark Halsey as well, who saw that, and I think common sense just sort of said, what are you doing, you can't do that, but his arms were raised. It's a funny one, isn't it, with that, because you see some players who raise their arms right in front of the referee and it's an instant red card. But Tevez riled. The half-time whistle's just gone. It's Manchester City 1, Norwich 1. A support for the sacked Roberto Mancini continues to blast around the Etihad Stadium. Plenty of Italian flags, as I mentioned before on show. And interestingly, Gabby, I've just seen one over just in front of me on the halfway line, a Chile flag. Chile, of course, the nationality of the Malaga boss Manuel Pellegrini, who will reportedly be appointed here next month. Norwich took the lead today following some sloppy City defending. There's been some awful defending all over the park really this afternoon. Yaya Toure gave the ball away on the edge of the D. Anthony Pilkington slipped in to curl a low right-footed shot past Joe Hart into the bottom right corner. The home side, with Brian Kidd in caretaker charge, will level 3 minutes later. The ball fell to Jack Rodwell on the penalty spot, who found the top right corner for his first goal in the City shirt. Norwich have conceded 15 goals against Manchester City in their last 3 meetings. They're putting up a fight this afternoon. It's 1-1 at the break.
I'll be intrigued to know whether Will Perry genuinely knew what the Chilean flag looked like or whether he had to Google that. Let's go to one.
Dangerous, good runs, good shots, but they cannot score. Simon Mignolet equal to everything. Adebayor a little flick, very tricky as well, but not getting past. And the worry for Spurs and AVB is that the focus on scoring means that they're leaving themselves vulnerable in defence. Conor Wickham's got away 3 times, 2 blocks and 1 brilliant save by Lloris. Adam Johnson, by the way, hardly seen him at all, but 0-0.
Thank you, Jonathan. And it's half-time at St James's Park. Paul Addison.
After a 20-year Magpies career, hasn't been overly stretched at all. And Newcastle, in fact, have had the better chances. Papi Cisse, Johan Gouffran and Hatem Ben Arfa, amongst others, with shots that have gone over the top of the Arsenal goal. But it's the lack of creativity that will alarm Gunners fans here. The likes of Theo Walcott, Santi Cazorla, Aaron Ramsey and Lucas Podolski on the field. But but they just can't break through. Newcastle, of course, is the first time they've played here at St James's since they were thrashed 6-0 by Liverpool. The game before that, they were beaten by arch rivals Sunderland, of course, 3-0. Much better display in front of the Toon Army for them, and they're well in this game. At half-time, it's Newcastle 0, Arsenal 0.
And it's all square at Stamford Bridge, and it's Chelsea who...
Twice from one shot. Morales and Pienaar have gone close as well. But Chelsea could have reclaimed the lead themselves among a host of openings. Frank Lampard missing the best chance, firing wide from the inside of the box. A glorious chance for him to add to that record-breaking tally of his. 1-1 at the break.
And let's go to the Hawthorns, where it's been a half...
United coast into a 3-0 lead by the half hour. Off the pitch, red smoke and flares as United fans parted. One or two unseemly outbreaks and pockets of fighting too, as United fans among the away supporters couldn't contain themselves. Eventually, order restored, and on the pitch too, as James Morrison pinched one back for a shell-shocked West Brom.
And a mood-enhancing scoreline for relegated Wigan. Damien Johnson, you can tell us about that goal. We didn't get a chance to catch up with you on.
Yeah, they've come from behind to lead 2-1 at half-time. The shackles are off both these sides, playing with freedom. Villa led inside 5 minutes. Darren Bent getting a rare start with Benteke suspended. Drilled low, right-footed past Al Habsi. Wigan equalised through Emerson Boyce. A counter-attack down the left. Espinosa's cross, and Boyce leapt high to plant a firm header into the net. Then an almighty goal-mouth scramble just before half-time at the Villa end. Sharon and Watson both had shots blocked. The attempted clearance off the line finally went in off Villa's Nathan Baker. So Wigan relegated, but they lead here.
As do Liverpool at Anfield. Richard Askham has the story of the first 45 there.
Yes, indeed, Gabby. Jamie Carragher on his last appearance after 16 years at Liverpool. The club's skipper on the day, in the absence of Steven Gerrard, has seen his every touch cheered by the home crowd as though he's scored a goal, something that is probably not all that likely. He's only scored 5 in his Anfield career, although his teammates are doing their best to try and set him up at every opportunity. The breakthrough came from a man bought for the future, Philippe Coutinho, lashing in a shot that gave Robert Green little chance. He and Liverpool have had other opportunities to score. I wouldn't mind betting that the man on the pitch at the moment, Ian Rush, would probably have put one of them away. Loic Remy has had QPR's best chance, fizzing a shot just past the post.
Let's go to Upton Park now. Andrew James, West Ham finishing with a flourish.
They certainly are, Gabby. They lead by 2-0, and Sam Allardyce has certainly got Upton Park buzzing. A full house here today, and they've seen those 2 goals, first from Kevin Nolan as he tapped the ball in after a mistake by goalkeeper McCarthy, and then by Ricardo Vazte, both of them set up by Andy Carroll. West Ham 2, Reading 0.
And to the Liberty Stadium, rumours that Michael Laudrup's agent is in the box with Abramovich today won't have made the Swansea fans too happy, and neither will the scoreline there after 45 minutes, Ian Hunt.
It won't. It's a disgruntled Liberty Stadium, Gabby, as you might imagine, with Fulham leading by a 0-0 at half-time. They came here to celebrate what's been regarded as their best ever season, top 10 of the Premier League, the League Cup in the cabinet. But Fulham it is who lead through a clever counter-attacking goal. Alexander Kaciniklic finishing off a fine move through the middle. He then struck a post from a quickly taken free kick, which would have made it 2-0. Fulham playing with a real zip and determination ahead of what's expected to be a big summer of change at Craven Cottage, with 10 players either out of contract or their loan periods ending. Swansea have had 2 great chances, but Pablo Hernandez put them both wide. Nathan Dyer with a good 30-yard shot, which struck the top of the net. But Fulham packing out the midfield, getting bodies behind the ball and frustrating Swansea. They lead by a 0-0 at half-time.
Thank you. Let's go to the St Mary's now. Hamish Marshall can tell us about the first half there.
Southampton 0, Stoke 0. Few chances and plenty of errors from both sides. Stoke probably had the 2 best efforts. Matthew Etherington volleying over from 20 yards, and John Walters forced a low save from Kelvin Davis. Southampton went close early on, but the rebound was chopped off as Ricky Lambert was offside. The Saints' leading scorer has also headed over and shot wide. Michael Owen is stretching on the pitch, hoping maybe to attract his manager's eye in his last day at the office. 0-0 at half-time.
Yeah, of course, Michael Owen's last day as well, amongst the illustrious list today. Let's give you the full times, though, of the SPL, and it finished Dundee United 0, Celtic 4. The champions won away from home for the first time since February. Samaras grabbing a double at Tannadice. Ross County won, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. Yes, indeed. Ross County beat Inverness for the first time since 2009, and Cali Thistle were denied their place in Europe. And it finished St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 0. That win meant the hosts finished 3rd in the table, which meant that they reached the Europa League qualifiers for the 2nd year running. And of course, back to the Premier League, you'll be able to see all highlights of 10 Premier League matches on Match of the Day this evening, the last of the season, with Gary, Alan Hansen and Alan Shearer, BBC One and BBC One HD at 10:25. And a little date for your diary. Next Sunday, it's the Women's FA Cup final between Arsenal and Bristol Academy. You can see the match on BBC Two from 2:25. And move on to other matters now, away from that to Robbie's team of the season. We've asked the guys to come up with, looking across the whole season, the 11 that they think has performed the best. And Robbie, this is yours. There we go. Explain your thinking.
Well, I think the keeper was in the team of the year. I think Ferdinand's been amazing. I've gone for a very attacking lineup that people might question. I've got no real, strength in midfield in terms of defensive. I've Carrick there.
You're relying heavily on those four at the back.
Yeah, I think my team will score more goals than the opposition.
You're going for the Kevin Keegan school of management.
Yes,
there.
I am, and I think Bale, Suarez, Van Persie, Cazorla, Carrick, Mata. Wow, I don't think nobody will beat that team.
It's kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, why not, Gabs?
Yeah,
why not? It's all about entertainment.
It's entertainment, yeah. Should we take a look at Martin?
He's got 6 at the back.
Well, it's about winning as well.
Let's see what Martin's going to put up against you.
I'm a big Ferdinand fan, and Zabaleta.
Got Ferdinand and Vertonghen.
They're my club men. Vertonghen's been an outstanding purchase this season. Bain's getting down that left. Ramirez in midfield doesn't get enough mentions for me. He really is an outstanding player.
Yaya Toure instead of Carrick.
I play Yaya Toure.
Instead of Carrick.
Yeah, but Toure is a top player. He's got an engine to dream of.
Not this season, he hasn't.
I don't care.
This season, Yaya Toure instead of Carrick.
There's been times. It's all about opinions.
Don't get
it's all
carried
about
away.
opinions. This team.
No Suarez.
Benteke deserves a mention as well at the top of the team.
OK.
No Suarez.
Let's have a little look.
Oh, here we go. This could be anything.
Let's have a look at Garth.
This is the real team.
There we go.
I've gone with Martin with Zabaleta. I've gone for Ivanovic. I think he's been outstanding. We've mentioned him earlier. Ferdinand, obviously. Everett scored something like 5 or 6 goals this season. They've been crucial goals for Manchester United. That's why he's got my slot at left back.
You can't play Van Persie on the wing.
On the right, on the wing.
Well, how's that going to happen?
I've accommodated him because I want Benteke to play up front.
You've accommodated Van Persie? Well done.
Van Persie can play anywhere. He's a great player.
He can't play in the centre half.
Unlike you. Now, you've got Mata, you've got Bale, you've got Carrick, and you've got
I'm not
Toure.
sure about Ivanovic as well.
Well, Ivanovic has been outstanding. He's kept out the likes of Terry. He's been ever present in that Chelsea team. So for me, Ivanovic is an absolute must.
No Suarez. I can't believe you haven't gone for Suarez.
Well, Benteke's been just as effective.
Benteke's been outstanding.
You've gone Aston Villa at the front, Aston Villa at the back with Guzan in goal as well. So you've obviously.
I think Guzan, their Villa's player of the season. He's been outstanding for them.
They actually released
so many goals.
They released him and Lambert brought him back.
One of the reasons they've stayed in the division.
How many goals did Villa concede? A lot, yeah.
But I mean, the team that you said were going to go down.
Yeah, that team. Yeah, nearly went down.
OK, it's a bit like when you get together at Christmas with your family. Sometimes there are going to be arguments, and then you all get together at the end and say it was all right. We're halfway through Christmas lunch, though, the way things are at the moment. Let's move on to the season awards. Robbie, Gareth Bale for Young Player of the Season, as was Martin, but Garth's gone for Benteke, unsurprisingly, as he's proposed him as his centre forward as well.
He was in the run-up.
Yeah. Player of the Year, Van Persie and Bale. OK. And Manager of the Year, the only difference there, Martin, you're going for Michael Laudrup, away from Sir Alex Ferguson.
I think coming in from Brendan Rodgers and taking over what they've done there and to win a trophy was... A lot of people thought that was going to be a difficult job to follow, but he's gone one step better, and I've been really impressed with him as a manager this season.
So would you be... I mean, today, it's a little bit of Chinese whispers, really, why Michael Laudrup's agent is in the box with Abramovich at Chelsea. Would you be surprised if Abramovich was looking at him as a potential Chelsea manager?
I would be surprised if he went to Chelsea. Nothing should surprise you in football, but I think he's more inclined to go to a club like Everton. A lot of people talk about Martinez, but there's no reason why Laudrup...
Which is also why he could be at Stamford Bridge today, yeah.
Exactly.
So you see him more as an Everton.
I think so. I mean, and what a wonderful job that would be to take over also. It's a bit of a merry-go-round at the moment. We're all watching closely to see what Martinez will do at Wigan now. Surely now he'll take a big opportunity. It could be the Everton one.
He's not Manager of the Year, though.
Laudrup?
Yeah.
Not for me. I don't think.
Well, he is the one that I've chosen. Anyway.
I would have gone for Rafa Benitez before I'd have gone for Laudrup, simply because I think
he had to put up with.
Well, I think he's had 7 months. I think he's averaged 2 points per game. He's won the Europa and he's kept them into the Champions League. And I think
but look at the players he's working with.
But people are.
It's a joy, isn't it, to work with that kind of calibre of player?
You're absolutely right. But we were just arguing earlier about how Mancini hasn't managed the quality of players that he's got. So you've got to be consistent, Martin.
Well, I did say that Benitez was a very good manager, and I always felt that he would do a good job. That if only the fans had got off his back, and maybe that's a warning for the fans, the influence that they have, because Chelsea would have strolled into the Champions League. It's been a bit difficult for them lately, and perhaps they might have even got to a cup final also.
Okay, it was good to have this difference of opinion. Otherwise, there'd be no point having.
Whose team would have won? Whose team would have won, Gabs?
Whose team would have won?
I think.
Out of the three of you.
And we're not been able to put that in some computer to mix it up and
Can we mash it up? Well, Martin's would be more defensively minded, wouldn't it? So they might not let as many goals.
To watch this team.
I'd pay money to watch your teams. And as a fan, I'd probably be quite pleased to pick up the points that Martin's team would accrue. The teams are coming out for the second halves around the Premier League. 10 games ongoing. Every shot I look at when I see Sir Alex Ferguson, he's laughing his head off. He's looking absolutely like he's lapping up this afternoon at the Hawthorns. Those are the scenes there at St James's Park where, you may well scratch your head, Podolski, because Arsenal have got to do something in this second half, Martin. They cannot rely on this draw being enough.
Final third, that urgency, for me, it's been a problem all season, just that extra little bit of difference. You've looked at players in the past, like your Omris and your Bergkamps, to unlock the door. Somebody has to come to the fore here. Could be Rosicky, but Podolski, though, has got a pedigree as well, so someone has to say they really want it badly.
What would have gone on in that dressing room just now from Arsene Wenger?
He would have been... You'd have sat there for 10 minutes. Arsene likes for players to calm down, to relax, and then to be ready to listen to the message that he wants to spread, and he would have been really positive to finish off his team talk, and it's there for them. It's in Arsenal's hands, and they've just got to go and do it now.
Big turning point for me in the season is the relationship between Vertonghen and Koscielny? Koscielny. That they together, they sort of have some wonderful partnership together. So
there they are.
They've been incredible.
Mertesacker, Koscielny.
Mertesacker and Koscielny, correct.
It looked like there that Gareth Bale was still pondering, debating that yellow card that he picked
Ridiculous.
up for
it was
simulation.
A definite penalty, whatever happens.
Well, the FA chairman, David Bursley, was next to him. Perhaps they were discussing it, because that might be something that might have to look retrospectively.
It just shows you, though, as a player, you cannot take a dive here and there. I'm not saying it was a dive. Listen, just to hear me out. Because it goes against you eventually. On the big day, it will go against you, and it's gone against him today. Let's see if that's going to be...
All the referees have to do is to give what they see. Yeah. Don't work on reputations, give what you see.
That's what Alex Ferguson said about Ashley Young, wasn't it? And you have to make sure that, as a manager, presumably as well, that you make sure your player doesn't get that kind of reputation, because it's going to cost you.
Yeah, and it happened before with Ronaldo, and it grows and it snowballs, and then it's a problem later on. So they know, the big managers know that it'll come against you.
Well, we didn't go there very much in the first half, but Hamish Marston has a story to tell us, or at least a goal at St Mary's.
Yeah, we thought we'd a goal in the first minute of the first half. We do have a goal in the first minute of the second half. Peter Crouch has given Stoke City the lead across from the right-hand side. It came from Cameron. Crouch was first to it, and it beat Kelvin Davis into the corner of the net. Southampton 0, Stoke 1.
Thank you, Hamish. Let's go to St James's Park. We've discussed what Arsene Wenger might have said in the dressing room. Has he made any changes on the pitch, Paul Addison?
He hasn't, Gabby, not as yet. Howard Webb, the referee, has just got us underway in this second half. The first half didn't go according to the Arsene Wenger plan. You can only imagine that he had plenty of words to say at half-time, but not made any changes as of yet. Just one note from the first half as Arsenal attack. They're into the area now. Walcott's ball across the face of goal. Saved by Steve Harper. Excellent save, diving away to his right. So that perhaps Arsenal's intent in the second half. I was just about to say they lost their captain Mikel Arteta midway through the first half. It's a big blow to them. He was injured in midweek against Wigan and was a doubt today. He did start the game, but clearly he couldn't carry on. He was replaced by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. So Walcott going close in the early seconds of the second half, but it remains 0-0.
OK, let's go to White Hart Lane. Jonathan Ledyard, has AVB tinkered with anything?
No, far from it, apart from his jacket. Because he's done that in frustration, more frustration, because Asa Okota has just sent a ball which was destined for Lennon, as long as it was going to his feet, as opposed to about 5 yards behind him, straight into touch. So the idea was right. It was just the actual carrying out of it did not live up to plan. But Spurs, in a sense, have just got to carry on, pick up where they left off, keep pressing, keep doing everything they're doing right, and must make sure that there are no leaks or holes in the rearguard where Wickham and Graham are still prowling 0-0.
Let's go to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea trying to secure third place. Tony Husband.
Where Gary Cahill has just brought a save from Tim Howard from the first corner of the second half, swung in from the left-hand side. The ball eventually broke to Cahill's left boot. He wrapped his foot round it, and Howard equal to the task. That's the only real opportunity this second half. Remember, Chelsea know that a win would definitely guarantee them that third-place position. They'll also be mindful, though, of course, if they only draw this game, of what's going on at St James's Park, and that, of course, could lead to a playoff, and it wouldn't be farewell Rafa after all. Not quite yet. 1-1.
So, thank you very much. Many goodbyes going on there, and it's not just the one departure at Goodison Park when the season ends. We know where David Moyes is going, but what about Phil Neville? His 8 years at the club come to an end this afternoon. Steve Bower went to find out. What next?
When you signed on the dotted line at Everton, could you have imagined what was going to happen in all those years afterwards?
I thought, well, I'll come here for a year or two and I'll go somewhere else for a year or two and maybe play abroad for a year or two. And I thought, you know, when you leave Man United, that's what happens. But I'd say the last 8 years have been every bit as special as my time at Man United. To the day I die, I will always be a Man United fan, and I've never hid away from the fact, but I think they now realise that I've given my all for Everton Football Club as well.
How would you describe your relationship with David Moyes?
Well, when I first came to the dressing room, when he signed me and he made me captain after about 5 or 6 games, I think it was. You know, it was a tough dressing room to come into. They all thought I was David Moyes' blue-eyed boy, and I think they were proven right. I think when he signed me, I think he had a vision where he wanted to take the club, and I think he needed someone to buy into that vision with him and help him. And I was lucky enough that I was that person.
You're ideally placed to sort of give us your opinion on David Moyes to succeed Sir Alex Ferguson. Do you see similarities?
Well, yeah, I think as a manager of Man United, there are certain traits. The club, Man United, have a philosophy, have a certain work ethic, and I think David Moyes fits that perfectly. Somebody told me the other day that when he signed for Everton 11 years ago, his main ambition was to manage Man United eventually when he was good enough, and his ambitions come through.
For the 13th time in the Ferguson years, Manchester United champions.
He's built Man United into a global empire now, and he's done that with being successful, and his success I don't think will be matched again by any other manager, and for me he's the greatest of all time without a question.
So what happens August?
I'm in a situation now that I've waited for the last 3 or 4 years. The major decision I made in my career when I left Man United was to join Everton. I thought that was probably one of the biggest decisions I made, and I think I made a great decision. So the next decision, hopefully, goes just as well.
It's a bit ambiguous what's going on with Phil Neville. We know he's finishing his Everton career, but where he goes, what he does, whether he's going to continue playing, because he hasn't said he's finished playing, is still very much open for debate, I'm led to believe.
Well, I think if he stays in the Premiership with the Leicester club and Everton, I think they'll expect more of him, you know, and play him more. So will he follow David Moyes to United? I think what he's not been a world beater, but he's been a dedicated, proper professional who's got the best out of his own ability. You know, people say about David Beckham wasn't a great player. You know, David Beckham he wasn't in the class of Messi or Ronaldo, but what he achieved was unbelievable.
Well, you've talked also about the professionalism of the likes of Frank Lampard as well, and, you know, it's...
Yeah, they come from that same
the harder
stock.
the practice, the luckier they get.
I think those goals is suggesting that he's a student of the game. He wants to do something afterwards. We need some of these guys to become coaches and managers, and the FA need to get behind him, as I know they're doing that with Gary. I'd like to see more of these individuals, but I think that will help him, give him an idea to see if he really wants to go into that line of work or whether he wants to carry on. He's working with the 21s this summer.
Got a choice, I guess, in a way. Does he stay within the Everton
he still
setup?
Thinks
Does
he
he
can
follow?
play Gabby, but he's not fit to play the remaining games for Everton, so one wonders, you know, why maybe he isn't retiring.
Does he go into the media? I think he's very insightful on TV as well, so he offers a lot.
It's a penalty.
Where are you?
White Hart Lane.
OK, let's go to Jonathan Ledgard. What's getting Garth so vexed?
Well, he's right. They should have had a penalty, Spurs. Another penalty, although Dempsey's closing in now. Mignolet will clear. Shot by Adebayor, and Cuellar. Well, if you look at what Stefan Freund thought and at AVB, they thought he just dived like a goalkeeper to stop it with 2 hands down by his feet. Spurs will feel robbed, their sense of frustration growing. That seemed to be a clear penalty, but Andre Mariner absolutely unmoved. But in a sense, Spurs have got to channel this positively. Go forward, just like Parker is doing now. Dempsey, this is getting exciting. And now there's going to be another booking from Andre Mariner on Sebastian Larsson. Still 0-0.
Exciting game there at White Hart Lane.
Very much so. And it seems that there's 2 penalty appeals that Andre Mariner's turned down. I think they're both wrong.
Yeah. Well, Arsenal have now got a free kick, actually, in a very good position.
And
they've scored.
They've scored from it. Let's go. Turned out to be a very good position indeed. Try and hide it. Try and hide it, Martin. He's neutral. Of course he's neutral. Let's go to Paul Addison and find out the details of that one.
Much relief in a small section of St James's Park. High in the gods here. The Arsenal fans are cheering. You won't be able to hear them. They are so far away, but Arsenal have scored. Walcott's free kick from the right-hand side. It wasn't cleared by Newcastle, and it was Lauren Koscielny with his 2nd goal of the season right in front of Steve Harper, who hooked the ball into the net. In fact, it went in off Steve Harper's cheek. Much relief for Arsene Wenger. Arsenal have the lead and they're in the driving seat for the Champions League. They lead here 1-0.
Let's go straight to White Hart Lane. I've seen the images, Jonathan Ledyard. They know.
They do. But there are 4 words they'd say. Come on, you Spurs. That was the cry around the ground. They've just seen Gareth Bale have another effort saved by Mignolet. It's gone for another corner. There is still time, obviously, for Spurs to step up, but they now know they absolutely have to win and hope also that Newcastle can produce something as well. But Spurs will keep pressing forward because they obviously, in order to make any equation work, they have to win, and currently it's 0-0.
Let's go straight to the Etihad. Another goal there. Will Perry.
Again, not going to the Manchester City script. Manchester City 1, Norwich 2 now, and some dreadful defending again. All 3 goals really have been sloppy defending, this time from Manchester City once more. It was Robert Snodgrass who found himself in acres of space over on the right-hand side. He put a brilliant ball across the 6-yard box to Grant Holt, who was unmarked at the left-hand post, and he slotted past Joe Hart. It's the Norwich fans doing the Poznan behind the goal. It's Manchester City 1, Norwich 2, and just to tell you that Sergio Aguero has come on for his fellow Argentine Carlos Tevez, who left the pitch with a big smile on his face, waving to the crowd. Make of that what you will. Manchester City 1, Norwich 2.
And you'll see there in this flurry of goals, there's been another one at the Hawthorns. Lukaku, tell us about it, Ivan Gaskell.
Yes, Manchester United were 3-0 up after half an hour and coasting. Sir Alex would have been forgiven for breaking out the large cigars early, but now West Brom are back in it here. Morrison, of course, just before half-time, and Romelu Lukaku, who may well be heading back to Chelsea this summer. Boy, how much West Brom would love to keep him. He came on at the break and has had immediate impact. A low shot, the keeper might have done better. He didn't. It's 3-2 now.
And another goal to tell you about, this time at Upton Park. Andrew James, where's this one gone?
Something of a consolation for Reading at the moment, Gabby. Gareth McCleary, his effort deflected in off Mark Noble. West Ham leading 2-0 at half-time. Reading, though, made 2 substitutions, sending on Lafondra and Nick Blackman for Pogrebniak and Robson Kanu, and they've been rewarded with a goal from McCleary. West Ham 2, Reading 1.
And another goal at St Mary's, Hamish Marshall.
It's an equaliser this time. Southampton 1, Stoke 1. Ricky Lambert's goal drought is over. That means he's now got 15 for the season, equal top English scorer in the Premier League. This time it was a follow-up after a save from Begovic. Begovic had made 2 excellent saves beforehand to keep things ahead for Stoke, but they're now level at 1-1.
Extraordinary. Let's go back to Upton Park. Andrew James, another goal there.
What's it all about, Alfie? Adam Lafondra scored an equaliser for Reading. He only came on as a sub at half-time. They completely changed their front line. And as the ball was played in from the left-hand side, Jaskalainen hesitated. So too did Winston Reid, West Ham's Player of the Year. And Lafondra put it in the back of the net. It's 2-2.
Let's have a look at the top of the table after that flurry of goals there and catch breath to tell you that Arsenal are very much in the driving seat now. Win and the Champions League berth is theirs, and they're doing just that at St James's Park. 1-0 scoreline there, with Tottenham still drawing, of course. They're on 70 points, that 3-point difference. And what a difference it is for the complexions of both their seasons. And, well, where do you want to start with that few moments of madness there with all those goals? I know where you want to
Just something
start.
I'd like to say at the moment, Gabby. You're looking at it in Arsenal now, not knowing really whether to keep attacking. Do they sit on their 1-0? Tottenham very much so need to get a goal to win their match and then worry about what's happening at the other end. So it's difficult, but Tottenham are actually raining shots. There's been a few penalty appeals. If again they're unlucky there, it's just going against Tottenham at the moment.
And Percy.
OK, let's go straight to the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell with another goal. Which way is this one?
This one has gone to Manchester United, and it's gone to Robin van Persie. And I guess in the season he's had, and in this particular game, and the significance of it, if he had not scored, it wouldn't have felt quite right. He has Valencia overlapping from deep on the right, cross back. Van Persie was there first, turned it past Foster. Order restored, 4-2.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Yeah, you made a good point that whether Arsenal, do they now go for the second goal? Do they sit on that? And they've got to keep playing, yeah?
Got to keep playing, because if Newcastle, they haven't been in the game, and if they wake up and go at Arsenal, it could become nervy. But all credit to Tottenham, they are really responding. And I think, as I said earlier, Villas-Boas is going absolutely berserk. I think it hit somebody on the arm, a potential shot at goal, but it's all Tottenham. You feel they're going to score eventually.
Jack Rodwell.
Johan Cabaye is leaving the pitch, saying goodbye to the Newcastle fans for this season. Let's go, though, to the Etihad. Will Perry has another goal.
Well, it's a brilliant goal from Jack Rodwell, and it's followed exactly the same pattern as the first half. Norwich took the lead, Manchester City equalised this 3 minutes later. Yaya Toure on the halfway line, a bursting traditional classic run from Toure through the middle of the park, picks out Jack Rodwell in an unsurprising position, sprinting forward down the left-hand side. He takes a touch, goes into the box, 2-touch, 3-touch, then the shot. Bottom right-hand corner, in off the bottom side of the right-hand post. It's a brilliant finish from Jack Rodwell, to be fair, looking at that again. And Manchester City at level, Manchester City 2, Norwich 2.
Well, they're like buses, aren't they, Jack Rodwell goals? What's going on there?
What pleasing thing for him is he's been out with problems with his hamstring. It was a bit of a risk buy, and he showed great pace there. No problems with the hamstring. Cool finish at the end of it. He's an English boy who's got real talent, and we want him to continue to do that.
Yeah, there's no reason to write off his career because it hasn't worked so far from at Man City. It could come good.
Definitely, and it's to see him run there. There's nothing wrong with his hamstrings anymore. Maybe that was, it was his body, but sometimes it can creep into your mind. We saw that with Michael Owen, and it's good to see that he's fulfilling his potential finally.
I've got to say, though, I know Newcastle, being at home today to James Park, they've been shocking, haven't they, Garth?
Is there any reason we'd be surprised, though, with the form that they've had in the last few months? They weren't, even without the pressure of this being a relegation fixture for them, you're not going to find form suddenly, are you, when it's eluded you for so long?
This is why I think that, when it was quite obvious that Manchester United won the title, I mean, you could go as far back as February. I mean, bookies will stop taking bets on Manchester United. Manchester City, to their credit, have kept the integrity of the league going. They've gone out and they've played and they've done very, very well. I've got to say, and I understand psychologically, you're off the pace, you've survived, and you're looking forward to your holidays. But they've been so poor here, and it's a real shame because they could have done so much.
But they've been poor, Garth. The point is for a while. This is not new, performance.
Yeah, that is true. But it would have been great to have a last flurry for the Geordie fans.
Sunderland putting up much opposition.
They are actually. They're well organised, defending extremely well, and Spurs are finding it very difficult. And they're looking for a little bit of help from the referee, and they're not getting any today, I'm afraid.
The big thing, my point on Gareth Bale will be, if they don't qualify for the Champions League, if I'm Gareth Bale, I leave. Yes. Just if I'm Gareth Bale. If they do qualify for the Champions League, I still leave. That's my personal opinion. Because
so you think Gareth Bale should leave? I'm ascertaining from that.
Yeah, because if Spurs do qualify, then they're not going to win the Champions League. I think Gareth Bale, with his...
I think this could explode into a very interesting debate. Yeah. So let's pause, because there's another goal at the DW. Damien Johnson, which way has this one gone?
It's gone to Aston Villa. It was a lovely goal. The ball floated into the area. It dropped eventually for the Villa captain, Ron Vlaar. Controlled it really well. Shot on the turn, top corner, 2-2.
Very much. 2-2 there at the DW. Let's go back to Gareth Bale.
So, if Spurs do qualify, and Gareth Bale's still a Spurs player, they're not going to win the Champions League at all. I think Gareth Bale, this moment in his career, should be in a team that's capable of entering tournaments they're going to win, i.e. the Premier League, if it's the Premier League, the Champions League. That's why, at this moment in time...
What you're talking about, Robbie, is inevitable. When you have...
When's he going to leave then? When's the right time to leave?
When a club doesn't match the individual successes of a player, this player is something special, and the world is taking note of him. He will want to go to something a little bit better. Tottenham fans won't want to hear that. Arsenal have lost players in the years. They've lost
Nasri.
They've lost Anelka. They've lost Overmars. They've accepted...
Fabregas.
There's been a whole host of players that have gone. They're examples. Now, if Arsenal couldn't hold on to them, I don't believe that Tottenham will. Gareth Bale, though, maybe is a slightly different, maybe not the international globetrotter that some of those players are.
Let me make a case for Gareth Bale's stay. If they do stay in the Champions League, or if they get into a Champions League place, and it's still a possibility at the moment, and Daniel Levy was to buy, let's say, Benteke. If he was prepared to put £20 million on the table, and I think Randy Lerner would have a serious issue about whether he takes it or not. If he would buy...
I think the player should stay if they...
Well, I'm making a case. I'm making a case
for challenge for the Premier League.
But the point I'm making is, if you're prepared as a club to put £20 million on £30 million, as you mentioned before, on the top players, and Spurs are making a commitment to Gareth Bale that they will do that if they get in the Champions League, that is a case for Bale to stay. Because with Ferguson gone, I think the Championship race next season is wide open.
Do you think Spurs can realistically challenge for it?
If they get the right players, yes.
Nonsense.
With Ferguson gone, absolutely.
I feel that there is... Listen, the challenge for Manchester United now is there's uncertainty, isn't there? There's
Correct.
a new man at the helm. And
no, who won't necessarily
City, United, Chelsea.
We know Ferguson can find a way of doing it, but will the new man
No
be
guarantees, because the best player that Manchester United have had for some considerable time is Alex Ferguson. If you take the point.
Tottenham are about to score, by the way. Oh, my God.
Let's go.
That is unbelievable how Tottenham haven't scored.
To White Hart Lane. It's not a goal.
It's not going to happen.
Tell us what it was.
It's not going to happen, is it? What do Tottenham have to do to score? Mignolet was all over the place. So was, for once, the Sunderland defence. Parker had a shot. It came off the post. Then Lennon had a shot. That too came away. And still the Sunderland goal stays intact. It's just a wave upon wave upon wave of white shirts flooding towards this fluorescent orange shirt worn by Simon Mignolet, and nothing seems to get past him. If he doesn't save it, then there's a post, and Spurs fans will say they've also got a man in red, otherwise known as the referee, who seems to be helping too. There's going to be a change by Andre Villas-Boas. Dembele is coming on, and Scott Parker, who's just had that chance a few moments ago, is coming off. There are something like 23 minutes to go. It's still 0-0. They have to win, Spurs.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Let's go straight to the Etihad. Will Perry will tell us about another goal there.
Oh, Martin Keown is a defender. Martin, have a look at this goal. It's Manchester City 2, Norwich 3. Johnny Howson has just walked from the halfway line through Julian Lescott, through Micah Richards, through Pablo Zabaleta, and he was one-on-one with Joe Hart, and he slotted it into the bottom right-hand corner. All 5 goals, apart from Jack Rodwell's most recent one to make it 2-2, have been shambolic defending. It's Manchester City 2, Norwich 3.
So that's 80% of them then. That was pretty shocking, actually, how bad and how easily those Man City players gave up there.
Well, that tells you that there is clearly things wrong. And when the manager's been sacked, the sooner they get their new man in and he sorts it out. Micah Richards there, we've just gone past him like he wasn't there. It's a great finish from Howson, and he's starting to do that, actually, for Norwich now that they're safe. It's interesting to see the players that are performing now that the clubs are staying up. But at the moment, the Tottenham game, Gabby, going back to that game, I mean, how they didn't score just a moment ago, it is unbelievable. The goal is, it's a charmed life the Sunderland goalkeeper is leading at the moment. Surely they are going to score.
And they almost did
It's one chance after another. I've never seen anything like it.
This is what's so disappointing to me, because you look at the game Man City-Norwich, and Norwich are actually playing unbelievably well.
Yeah.
They've just brought off Johnson for Tete, I think it is, and Johnson, you can see, is visibly upset. He doesn't want to be taken off. At the last game of the season, they're safe. He wants them. Norwich, it's a different... Sorry, I beg your pardon. Newcastle, it's a different kettle of fish entirely. They're not at it and haven't been all
Well,
game.
let's just open that up slightly wider then, with Newcastle and Alan Pardew, given that 8-year contract at the beginning, almost the beginning of this season. Where do they go now with this bunch of French players who've come in and seemingly not gelled particularly well? Haven't seen the best of them yet. Does
Bringing
Pardew...
in so many players all at once, you wonder about the wisdom of doing that. Also giving him a lengthy contract. You know, do the players then think? I don't know what Robbie would think. Would you be going in asking for a new deal if the manager gets one for 8.5 years? You know, I'm not sure that that's sending out the right message, but they've been all over the place, Newcastle, this season, and their performance today is indicative of the way they played this year.
I think the first 3 or 4 months to start next season is going to decide what Alan Pardew does, if he's still there or not, because I think after last season's success, this season's been poor. I think the first 3 or 4 months of next season dictates what's going to happen to him. I think he deserves the chance. He hasn't become a bad manager overnight.
The only thing I can say in Alan Pardew's defence, that Newcastle has sapped his resource, and it does. The Europa League really does hit clubs hard, and if you've got to put it in, give it some context. Without that, it's a different season for Newcastle, and I think that's hit them very hard.
But they've had this is their preferred team that they like to play with today. They've pretty well got everybody available.
Do they keep Colaccini? That's another...
That's another big issue.
All of these,
I mean, he became unsettled. Ben Arthur's got a lot of injuries. Cabay's had a lot of injuries. The Europa's hit them very, very deeply indeed.
OK, let's go get some goal news from the Hawthorns. Ivan Gaskell.
Well, what a party we've had here. I have to say, in amongst everything relating to Sir Alex Ferguson, we've had one heck of a game here. 7 goals now, 5 of them to Manchester United. The ever lively Hernandez this time. And once again, after getting themselves back to 3-2 and looking like they might even get something out of this one, I'm afraid West Brom have been undone, and there is no danger now that Sir Alex Ferguson is going to get anything other than the win he craved in his final appearance in the dugout. It's 5-2 United now.
What were you saying there, sorry, Martin?
We're just saying that Tottenham just... I mean, I feel that they'll score at any moment, but Newcastle, I mean, just not in the game.
I think Newcastle wouldn't score if this game was going for 24 hours.
I just feel that Arsenal just need to get that second one, Gabby. Arsenal need a second goal to
Let's see whether or not Paul Addison thinks it's coming and go to St James's Park.
Well, Arsenal are on the attack now, Gabby. They look the more likely because, as the lads are saying, Newcastle, something of a spent force in this game. We just had a break in play. Czech Tiote went down. I think he got one in the eye in a challenge with Lukas Podolski, and he was down for quite some considerable time. Arsenal look thoroughly in control of this game without ever looking overly likely to score a second goal. They're just keeping possession in the Newcastle half of the field, and it all looks very comfortable for them at the moment. They lead by 1-0, of course, and that goal was scored for them by Lauren Koscielny.
Let's go straight to White Hart Lane. Garth is incredibly frustrated. He wants to see Defoe on the pitch, Jonathan Ledyard. Is he warming up? Is he going to come on?
No, it's extraordinary, as Martin says. Every time a white shirt gets the ball, they charge for. Bale's gone tumbling down. They're going to be shooting from about 50 or 60 yards this rate. Stefan Freund now just in front of me. The assistant managers gesturing the crowd to lift them. They've won yet another corner. It's about corner 33, probably in the last 5 minutes. It's just a non-stop wave of attack, a siege, and yet still Mignolet and Sunderland are standing firm.
There appeared to be a section of the Spurs fans cheering there who may have misheard of a Newcastle goal. There's definitely been no threat of that in the last 10 minutes or so. But let's talk about AVB's
Jack Colback's just unbelievable there. It's the second one he's not off the line.
Reluctance to change his formation, and reluctance to tinker with things, which does seem to be one of the accusations, Garth, if you can just pull yourself away from the emotion of this occasion and just discuss that with us. And just what do you think about that when the Spurs fans get a bit frustrated that he doesn't make substitutions and he doesn't change.
One of AVB's failings might be that he's absolutely convinced that one up front is the way to go for him. And I think with 50 minutes to go, you need a goal. You've got Jermaine Defoe on the bench. Why is there something so averse to playing, 2 up front? Why can't you play Adebayor and Jermaine Defoe in a situation like this? It's not that long ago where they were a regular fixture.
Suddenly tactics
on the wing. Exactly. Well, yeah. Suddenly the tactics change the tactics. Go for broke. What have you got to lose?
The tension at White Hart Lane, because the fans, they're hearing things going on at Newcastle, and Arsenal have just had a couple of good opportunities, and it's Tottenham, a barrage. They've just got to win their own game. They can't even do that at the moment, but it could go either way at this point if Newcastle get back into things and Tottenham score. But at the moment, it's a valiant attempt from Sunderland to keep this at 0-0.
He's brought Dembele on, and left Defoe on the bench, which is really frustrating.
It's forwards versus defence, isn't it? It's just incredible the amount of defending that Sunderland are having.
Sunderland have been superb defending. I have to tell you, all credit to them.
Canio, really.
I want to talk about Di Canio and his future there in a moment, but let's go check in at Stamford Bridge. Tony Husband, how's it going?
Well, the second half has pretty much been a blue tide moving towards the Everton goal. Lots of scrambles, lots of goalmouth activity. Ivanovic shooting wide on a couple of occasions for Chelsea, as has Barr, who has now made way. Victor Moses has come on as a substitute. Jelavic has come on as a sub for David Moyes' men and has just had a header save. But, of course, this is very interesting at the moment. Chelsea still holding on to third place. Be interesting if there was an Everton goal here, though. But at the moment, 1-1.
Thank you very much. Let's talk a bit about Paolo Di Canio. Spurs of Sunderland rather have survived. He's done presumably the job that he was brought in to do. Is he? And he said this week he doesn't care if players don't like him. Interesting what you were saying about Mancini. He says, I don't care if players don't like me. That's not my job to be liked by them. Will that be a successful marriage going forwards?
I think diving into the sea because they've stayed up and stuff like that. Antics as a Premiership manager, I don't think you can get away with that in the long term. I think short term it'll be fine. He's kept them up, but I think I read a report that he might have fined a few players for not signing autographs. And I don't think players, I think longevity there.
Gabby, we're just watching this. Sorry, Robbie.
Don't worry.
When you're in this situation on Tottenham, just to help them, you need to be patient in your build-up and wait for the opportunity. It's so frantic at the moment. They may get lucky and they may score one, but you can't help but think that
Here he comes.
it's almost
About time.
OK, it looks like Garth's got his wish there, but there's another substitution we should nod our head to, Ivan Gaskell at the Hawthorns.
Yes, with all of those retirements this week, none more so than Sir Alex Ferguson, let us spare a very large thought, and I'm sure the guys would have a few views on the next player to enter the scene here at the Hawthorns. Kagawa is coming off, and Paul Scholes, for the very last time in a Manchester United shirt in a competitive game, comes on to a great ovation from the whole ground. Listen to this. Scholes on 670-odd appearances, 150 goals, 10 Premier League titles, making his final appearance for United in the Premier League. We wish him a happy retirement from playing.
And we'll also wish a happy retirement to the substitution that's just come on at St Mary's. We'll talk Scholes in a second, but I'm sure you'll want to add this guy to your list as well. Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, Michael Owen's just had a standing ovation from all four parts of this ground. He's coming on to play the last 17 minutes for Stoke. It was a career which started against Wimbledon for Liverpool on the 6th of May 1997, included many high points for England as well. It's going to end here at Southampton this afternoon. Can he get a great goal to finish things off and change the scoreline here of 1-1?
It's a busy substitution few minutes, but there's one coming on at White Hart Lane. Garth will be pleased to hear about. Jonathan Ledyard.
Clint Dempsey's coming off. Garth Crooks... Jermaine Defoe is coming on. So, are they now going to play two up front? And we see Defoe going now with instructions to talk to Adebayor in the centre circle. Little and large, reunited. Defoe is not necessarily going right up front. Dempsey's playing, as we know, just behind him, almost in the hole behind Adebayor. Changes two for Sunderland, but the main thing is with 17 minutes to go, can Sunderland keep out Spurs? Because this has just been an extraordinary siege, an extraordinary saves, one after the other. It's every minute almost. Mignolet just a few moments ago saved from with his boot, his left boot, just stuck it out quickly as Bale rampaged through, this time on the right side of the attack. Still 0-0.
OK, let's talk a little bit about Paul Scholes, shall we? But the accolades were pouring out from you guys for the likes of, I think Gabby, Frank Lampard, but Paul Scholes' achievements.
The thing about Paul is he's so understated in the way that he is. He's not chased the media, completely different to David Beckham. David Beckham, listen, David's fantastic in what he does, but Paul completely the opposite. The two of them together in the same team, great technician, great passer of the ball, a real winner. You wouldn't want to be on the end of one of his so-called tackles. But, he's been a great player, and I'm proud to have played with him in an England team because he was a real handful and just so professional. He was in bed at 9:30 every night. It was a manager's dream, and now he's having to retire. It's almost fitting that he goes out with Sir Alex because he's been the person that's given him his chance, and boy, didn't he take it.
I think there's been quite a bit of disrespect shown to David.
OK, hang on, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go straight to Jonathan Ledyard, sending off there.
We have a red card. Sunderland down to 10 men with David Vaughan, the Welsh midfielder, sent off. Paolo Di Canio shakes his head, but Aaron Lennon is rather ruefully rubbing his ankles. He's just tying up the laces to his left boot as well. David Vaughan came in. It was a late challenge. I can't say it was exactly violent, but it was mistimed. It was ugly. And as Aaron Lennon was going across the face of the goal, trying to set up some sort of chance, maybe set up Carl Walker going down the right-hand side, Vaughan caught him, and the referee has pleased Spurs fans, if not Paolo Di Canio and Sunderland. Sunderland now down to 10 men with 16 minutes to go. The advantage with Spurs, but can they score?
Sunderland down to 10 men, no goals there, but Arsenal with that crucial goal at St James's Park. Paul Addison, how are Newcastle looking? Are they going to put up any challenge?
No, not at all, not as things stand, Gabby. They're awful in this second half, they really are. They were all right in the first half. Of course, that is comparing them to their previous two performances here, a 6-0 defeat to Liverpool and a 3-0 defeat to Sunderland, of course. We've seen nothing from them so far in the second half. Having said that, since Arsenal scored that goal through Lauren Koscielny, we haven't seen an awful lot
from Arsenal as an attacking force either. They're happy just to sit back and maintain their 1-0 lead, which would, of course, ensure Champions League qualification. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's had a shot from distance, which went way over the top and into the Gallagher end. Other than that, it's all fairly eventless, but Arsenal won't mind at all because they're 1-0 up.
Thank you very much. And let's go straight to Stamford Bridge. Tony Husband for a goal.
2-1 Chelsea with 13.5 minutes to go, and it's Fernando Torres, his 21st goal of a season, which has seen him reclaim some confidence, the kind of player that we saw Chelsea pay so much money for. He was actually set up by the substitute Moses, a cushioned header down, and from about 8 yards out, Torres has hit this really, really hard. He's beaten Howard at his near post, but the pace has done him, and Chelsea lead 2-1.
23 goals in total, Torres, this season. 8 of those in the league.
Well, if you're looking at what Rafa Benitez was taking Chelsea for, he's accomplished all things. He's got
absolutely
Torres scoring goals. Initially when he went in, then had a dry spell. He's got the fantastic goal in the final the other night. He's got another goal today. Benitez, a success. And can the new manager get the best out of Torres? I think he's got 3 years left.
Well, is Torres now back to his best?
I don't think he ever will be back to his best, will he? I don't think... When he played for Liverpool and Atletico Madrid, but Fernando Torres, I think he's got the World Cup, he's got the European Championship, he's got the Champions League, the Europa League. Well,
I've seen a lot of Chelsea this season, and I've seen a lot of Torres. And when he first came to Stamford Bridge, he was behaving like a spoilt brat. He did everything. He wanted the team to dance to his tune, and Torres has had to sort of get his head together and play as part of the team, and not the team to play to his tune. He's now done that. Now, Rafa, I think, has been instrumental to that. Yeah. So all credit to Rafa Benitez.
Yeah. We'll come back to you in a second, but let's go straight to the Liberty Stadium. Ian Hunt has another goal for us there.
And Fulham have extended their lead, Gabby. It's Dimitar Berbatov who's got the goal. You did wonder which mercurial number 9 would get on the score sheet this afternoon. Would it be Michu or would it be Berbatov? It is the latter. He's done absolutely nothing during this second half. Neither have Fulham collectively, but a little break allowed Ruiz to thread the ball through to the Bulgarian. He beat the offside trap, beat the defenders, slotted it home low past Michel Vorm to give Fulham probably now all 3 points here with just 13 minutes to go. It's been all Swansea in this second half, but it's Fulham who are on top and poised to end their long wait without a win. Swansea 0, Fulham 2.
So Fulham, who'd lost 5 on the bounce before today, look like they're heading for a victory. Let's go to Upton Park. Andrew James, another goal there.
Another goal, and it's another goal for Kevin Nolan, the captain of West Ham, on a breakaway and then slipping the ball under McCarthy. It doesn't figure too much today, I know, but this means that West Ham will secure a top 10 finish on their return to the top flight. A good achievement by Big Sam. It's West Ham 3, Reading 2.
Yeah, a very impressive season for them. But let's talk about what's going on at Anfield. We're going everywhere for goals, Richard Askham, but not to you.
No, Gabby, although I tell you what, a few minutes ago we almost had the fairy tale ending that all of the Liverpool fans want. Jamie Carragher, as Liverpool have a chance there through Stuart Downing. I was just saying, Gabby, that Jamie Carragher scored, in his debut in the Kop end. He came within a whisker of doing so today. He struck it from 25 yards and it just came back off a post.
But didn't go in, and it's still 1-0 at Anfield against QPR, of course, already relegated.
Just thinking back to last year, we were all sat here when Aguero scored that last-minute goal. You wonder if that sort of swing is going to happen. Are Newcastle going to score and then Tottenham get a late one? It's
set up for it, isn't it?
It is. It's a bit of a lull in things at the moment, and I'm hoping as an Arsenal fan that that's not going to happen and Arsenal get their second goal.
I can't believe
Gabby, demand some impartiality here, please, if you don't mind.
I think we know where you two are both sitting today, and it's not on the fence. So we can just declare our hand in that right now. He wants Arsenal in the Champions League. Garth wants Spurs in the Champions League. At the moment, Martin's getting his way.
Well, Sunderland are down to 10 men. I cannot believe that.
Robbie, do you care?
They play like the lives.
I couldn't care.
Less. But Sunderland are playing as though their lives depend on this game. It's an extraordinary performance. Now, 10-man Sunderland. I mean, look, they're all there. Defending, battling. They've just won the head in the 6-yard box. They're winning all the first balls.
Compare Sunderland's performance to Newcastle today.
How was this season panned out, do you think, from what you predicted at the beginning of the season? Robbie, for example, let's start with you.
Well, I was bald.
You were bald? Never been bald, mate. Not with that.
Bald.
I know, I was being facetious. Can I remind you, you couldn't look beyond Man City. This is according to the Radio Times. You couldn't look beyond Man City for retaining the title.
Yeah.
You thought perhaps...
far off.
You couldn't... let's have a look at the bottom three. You thought Southampton would go straight back down, and you tipped Norwich as well to just edge out Villa.
Well, to be fair, Villa, what, one or 2 points? Well,
you've only got one out of the bottom three, which was Reading. Surprise package. Do you remember who you said?
QPR. 10.
I think the surprise was they went down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And if you could change one rule in football, you'd ban the rule that makes celebrating a goal by taking your shirt off being a bookable offence. Of course you would, because you try and get your kit off at any moment. We saw that on Strictly Come Dancing. But he didn't get that one either.
Yeah.
But has it been a season of surprises overall, do you think?
Not really. I think it's been quite a poor season, really, in terms of
lack
quality.
Of surprises.
Yeah, lack of surprises, yeah. And, like, the final day...
We were sport last year,
spoiled, yeah.
Last year with the Aguero last-minute goal. And I think, you know, the difference between Man City this year and last was vast, wasn't it? I know you got it right there. You only came second, just one place above. But the difference between the two teams in points and ability...
It's just been huge. They've never really looked like it was a race,
to get closer next year. And I think now that Sir Alex has given up that mantle, it will. I mean, if I was still involved and you're a competitor, you wouldn't say out loud, but you know there's a weakness there now, and we can go after them because there's going to be uncertainty. They've got a new manager. He's got to meet the needs of all the players, and I think David Moyes will do that. But there's still that tinge of
I think by Aston Villa staying up this season, I've been getting absolutely hammered on Twitter.
Didn't you promise to do anything?
No.
Is there no forfeit at all?
What I will say, I think them young kids now, of a year of experience in the Premier League, next year they'll be better. The big thing for Villa is keeping all the Benteke.
Correct.
And I think if they can do that, they can push on next season. I think Lambert's, to keep Villa up, has done exceptionally well. I'm not going to apologise for saying they'll go down, because I thought they would have.
Just interesting how Di Canio's lining up his team here, down to 10 men, Gabby. And how on earth they're keeping Tottenham now, because they're coming tired, they are moving the ball better and they are being more patient, and they might just score a goal because of it. But you have to say the defending has been of the highest order.
Well, it's interesting you were saying before, you know, about Mancini being a bit too hard on his players, and obviously Di Canio has said he doesn't want to necessarily be mates with them, he wants to manage them to success. And this week, a few Sunderland players, Phil Bardsley was left out because of being pictured with pile of £50 notes in a casino the night when Wigan secured their Premier League status by losing, of course. Does kind of coming down hard on players for that kind of behaviour say to you that he's going the right way about things?
We've got to be careful what we say, but Di Canio, I think, is crazy. He's a crazy guy.
Do you know what?
Be careful what you say.
He's a crazy.
It sounds to me like you were being too careful there. So
be careful.
Very delicately put, Martin.
I'd love to hear your description of if you weren't being careful. Let's go to the Hawthorns. Simon Gaskell has a goal.
What an extraordinary way for Sir Alex Ferguson to bow out of management. I'm not sure he'll be too pleased with conceding 3 goals, but concede 3 goals his team have today. Lukaku, who's been such a linchpin in West Brom's team this season, and who knows, they might yet get him back next year. I'm sure they'll try. Well, he scored a second goal since coming on as a half-time sub. Such entertainment on show here today. So many stories. It's 5-3 United.
Thanks, Ivan. Let's go to Anfield because Jamie Carragher has left the pitch for the final time. Richard Askin.
Yes, Gabby, after 16 years, 737 appearances, Jamie Carragher has finally waved goodbye to the Anfield crowd. I'm sure he'll be back out there later to make, when the team go round the pitch for their end-of-season farewell. He's played very well today. As I mentioned a moment ago, Gabby, he almost scored. He's only scored 5 goals in his whole Liverpool career. But one moment summed up his performance as a Liverpool player. Loic Remy running at him. Carragher was isolated. He's never been blessed with pace. Certainly not anymore, and he saw him off, and he's just gone off to one heck of an ovation.
Let's go straight to the Hawthorns, because it would be rude, Ivan Gaskell, to go 2 minutes without a goal there.
Absolutely. I mean, this is quite extraordinary. It is now West Bromwich Albion 4, Manchester United 5, and I have to say West Brom are chasing like fury to square it. Jonas Olsen has missed an open goal from 2 yards out. He blazed it over the bar. Now that looks like a bit of a turning point. 5-4, Malumbu this time. This could go out either way at this stage. Extraordinary. And just before you pick up there, Paul Scholes on for a cameo. His last United performance has been booked for a poor tackle. Now, where have we heard that before?
He doesn't look overly concerned, shall we say. But it wasn't one of his most delicate, was it? Let's go to St James's Park. Paul Addison, Arsenal still in the driving seat.
They are indeed, and they should have been 2-0 up. They had a good chance. Santi Cazorla from the edge of the area, shot from an angle. It just went narrowly over the top of Steve Harper's goal. Very curious from Newcastle here. They've had a corner in the last 10 minutes, which they took short, and it got them nowhere. Then they had a free kick near one of the corner flags, an opportunity you would imagine to get the ball into the Arsenal penalty area. Again, it was decided to take it short, and they ran up a blind alley and it got them nowhere. Very odd that for a home team to be taking short corners and free kicks and not getting anywhere when they're a goal down. Arsenal still look comfortable at the back, Newcastle not offering any threat whatsoever, and Arsene Wenger looking nice and relaxed in front of me now. Arsenal lead by 1-0.
Meanwhile, at White Hart Lane, Jonathan Ledgard.
AVB is like a cat on hot bricks. In fact, the biggest noise at White Hart Lane is coming from the red and white Sunderland corner away to my right. The Tottenham fans cannot believe what they've witnessed. Rather, as Martin and Garth and Robbie have said, another shot comes in. There's a hand in the way. Freund says that should be a penalty. Referee says no, it's a corner. If Simon Mignolet had had a game like this, it would be a stunning DVD, because this would be the second greatest hit. It's been absolutely magnificent. It's been a one-man show, basically, which is to take nothing away from the rest of the defence, but anything which has come near him, as Adebayor rises and heads over the bar, it's another corner. There was just a Sunderland head in the way. It has been a quite outstanding performance. You can notice him because it's his fluorescent orange strip, but his performance also. He's been equal to absolutely everything. Just ask Gareth Bale, 0-0.
It's just getting a little bit too late, one senses, though. Time is running out for them. And it's interesting that the two games with probably the most riding on them have one goal between them, whereas at Upton Park, Andrew James.
Yes, Kevin Nolan's having a right old field day. A hat-trick from him, all classic Kevin Nolan goals. But Sam Allardyce leading West Ham into a top 10 finish, and it's his disciples who've been with him at places like Bolton, and in Nolan's case, Newcastle, of course, before here. Ricardo Vazte and a hat-trick from Kevin Nolan that have done the damage. Poor old Reading, West Ham 4, Reading 2.
You've got 4-2, 2-2. We've got, of course, goals aplenty at the Etihad, with Norwich still leading 3-2. And yet these two games, the tension, it just shows you, doesn't it, what it can do to you. You know, sports psychologists have a field day with this kind of thing, because the mind games and how it can kind of suppress your physicality, which is clearly happening at White Hart Lane.
Well, the worry for the Arsenal fans, it's been so comfortable that, you know, will they get a slap in the face at the end of the game? Jack Wilshere just coming off the bench. And you have to say, Tottenham really could not have done any more other than score, because they've been magnificent in their attacking play. And the goalkeeper for Sunderland is truly amazing. And it's been a Di Canio-like performance. They have been really defiant, and it's almost over our dead bodies.
That's a goal! 5-0!
Thanks for that. There's only one place where it could be 5-5. Ivan Gaskell.
I tell you what, Sir Alex Ferguson isn't going to be happy this evening. You couldn't wipe the smile off his face before the game, but it is now West Brom 5, Manchester United 5. It's quite extraordinary, and it's a second-half hat-trick from Chelsea's Romelu Lukaku. Now, how many stories can you pack into one match?
Ivan, that's all very well, but perhaps even more interestingly, at White Hart Lane, Jonathan Ledgard has a goal.
Gareth Bale, who else has given Spurs reason to believe and hope that Newcastle can do something against Arsenal? 25 yards out, pulls the trigger with the left boot, and it flies into the top right-hand corner. Even Mignolet, on this outstanding superhuman performance, couldn't keep the ball out. 2 minutes to go before stoppage time. Spurs lead Sunderland 1-0.
What a
but
goal.
Spurs need a favour from Newcastle. Let's go to St James's Park. Paul Addison, one coming.
I don't think they're going to get it, to be honest with you. It's as you were here. Arsenal have a free kick inside Newcastle territory. I'm sure news of that Gareth Bale goal has filtered through, certainly to the Arsenal fans high up away to my left, certainly down on the bench as well. So it'll be a nervy time for Arsenal as they hold out here. We're into the 90th minute. We're just ticking on for added on time here. Arsenal's free kick comes to nothing. Fourth official, Kevin Friend, puts up 4 minutes. So there is hope for Spurs, but Newcastle are going to have to do something they haven't looked like doing all afternoon, and that's score a goal. It's Newcastle 0, Arsenal 1.
You wanted the Newcastle of this time last year, Garth, the one where Barr and Cisse were scoring goals for fun, but at the moment it's not looking like it's coming for Spurs fans, and It's been a record day,
It's
though.
very tense
36 goals so far, beaten the previous last day of the season total by 2. 34 goals was the previous record, but Gareth Bale's the
And that one from
36.
Gareth Bale there, Gabby, has been the goal of the day.
It was the
and
way
why
his composure.
scoring goals like that, that guy is, for me at the minute, the third best player in the world. Why would you stay at Spurs?
Theo Walcott's through.
Let's just stay with
He
him.
is.
Walcott's through. Is he going to seal
Finish!
the... He is!
Oh, he's hit the post!
Oh, no!
He's hit the post!
Stevie Harper's got hold of it. It hit the post. He only had the goal to beat, and he didn't manage it.
Well, it is so tense because Newcastle now, it's now end-to-end stuff.
Okay, it's
going down the other
all
end.
over
Look at him.
St
Koscielny's
Mary's,
been
as
superb.
is Michael Owen's career. He's finished, as has the match. Hamish Marshall has the details.
And it finished Southampton 1, Stoke 1. No dream finish to Michael Owen's career, but he was widely applauded for his quarter-of-an-hour cameo, and he's still taking the applause now. It was billed as the battle for 10th. Neither side succeeded in that aim. Asmir Begovic, with a string of second-half saves, secured a point for Stoke. The one he couldn't hold fell to Ricky Lambert for his 15th goal of the season. That cancelled out a Peter Crouch header shortly after the break. Full-time here, Southampton 1, Stoke 1.
Newcastle are throwing their keeper up. Harper's at the halfway line. And it's Newcastle in possession at the moment, in the dying moments at St James's Park. Spurs fans will be willing them, but Arsenal back in possession. So let's go to the Etihad. It's all over there. Will Perry, not finished the way that Man City fans remember of a year ago.
Yeah, slightly different, isn't it, Gabby? Manchester City 2, Norwich 3. Another goal fest, though, between these two sides. Norwich didn't fear Manchester City. They fully deserved their win, although it looked like City's defenders were already on their summer holidays and 3 Caipirinhas down. Anthony Pilkington put Norwich in front after Yaya Toure gave the ball away. Jack Rodwell was the only shining light for the home side, who levelled shortly after. Grant Holt then tapped in unmarked to make it 2-1. Q Rodwell again to equalise. A fantastic 40-yard run onto Toure's ball and a finish into the bottom right corner. Johnny Howson gave Chris Hughton's side the lead once more, strolling through the City defenders from the halfway line past Lescott, past Richards and Zabaleta, who all looked like they were swimming in treacle. Howson then slotted past Joe Hart. Norwich finished the season in 11th place, a place higher than last season. If Manuel Pellegrini is watching on from a bar in Malaga, he'll be planning some serious defensive training sessions. Manchester City 2, Norwich 3.
Chelsea have secured 3rd place. It's all over at Stamford Bridge. Let's go back to Paul Addison, St James's Park. Newcastle just can't find anything, can they?
I'm afraid not. It's Arsenal who are on the attack, and Olivier Giroud, afraid not from a Spurs point of view, I hasten to add. Steve Harper tips the ball over the top of the bar. Olivier Giroud fed there by Jack Wilshere. Arsenal have a corner. We've now played 4 minutes of added on time. That was the amount shown on the board by Kevin Friend. So Arsenal will have a corner here. They're about to qualify for the Champions League for the 16th successive season. They're taking an age to take this corner, as you can quite imagine. It is full time at White Hart Lane, so Spurs have beaten Sunderland by a 1-0. Gareth Bale scored it, so they've done all they can. Arsenal take the corner short, and Howard Webb blows his final whistle here at St James's Park. A broad smile on the face of Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal manager, because his side have secured 4th place. Nervy end to the game. Arsenal weren't at their best throughout this afternoon. They weren't firing on all cylinders, but they got the crucial goal early in the second half. A Theo Walcott free kick wasn't cleared by the Newcastle United defence, and Lauren Koscielny was there to hook it home from close range past Steve Harper. That goal has proved to be the decisive one. It is Arsenal celebrating here. Their fans are away high in the stand to my left at St James's Park. Newcastle really weren't a force at all in this match. They never looked like scoring a goal, and so it proved. Celebrations for Arsenal then into the Champions League. They've never finished outside of the top 4 under Wenger.
Gareth Bale's final appearance for Spurs, it was some send-off. A signature screamer from his left boot from 25 yards into the top corner. It came just minutes before the end of normal time, 4 minutes of stoppage time. But events elsewhere conspired against Spurs, conspired against Gareth Bale. Sunderland played the last 16 minutes with 10 men. Their goalkeeper, Simon Mignolet, though, was playing like Superman, more like 20 men himself. His feet, his hands, his positioning, everything was put to outstanding advantage. Until that goal, just ask Gareth Bale, Defoe, Huddleston, you name it. Every Spurs player, it seemed, had a chance, and yet Mignolet was quite magnificent. Sunderland heroic in defence, and actually, I mentioned to Hugo Lloris saving his team twice. Brilliant stops from Wickham and Graham. It finished 1-0 to Spurs.
Let's go straight to the Hawthorns. The final... Oh, what a dramatic last few minutes. And there he is, Jamie Carragher, the man of the hour at Anfield, who's played his final game for the club that he has supported and played for the entire duration of his career. Damien Johnson. No, sorry.
It's me, Gabby. It is me, I promise. Yes, and it's fitting that one of Anfield's true winners, Gabby, has been sent on his way with a win and the skipper's armband around his bicep. And Jamie Carragher almost capped it, you know, on his 737th appearance with a perfect and unlikely ending, a 25-yard pile driver that smacked the woodwork. Philip Coutinho did hit the back of the net in the first half with a crisp shot. QPR barely threatened to spoil the Carra-loving, sealed when he was substituted late on to allow the home crowd to give him the ovation his never-say-die efforts deserved.
There's emotional scenes all over the place, but let's go to the DW Stadium, and Damien Johnson can tell us the story from there this afternoon. Damien. Oh, we haven't got Damien there. I can tell you the final scoreline was Wigan 2, Aston Villa 2, the match that so many people had predicted was going to be the relegation decider. It turned out to be a chance for Wigan to wave goodbye to the Premier League and try and celebrate their FA Cup victory. But let's go to Upton Park, a high-scoring affair for Andrew James this afternoon.
That's right, Gabby, it's finished West Ham 4, Reading 2. The West Ham players doing their lap of honour here. They finished 10th in the Premier League on their return this season, and they fully deserved their win today. Kevin Nolan got a hat-trick too late on in the game after Reading had fought back to 2-2. But this is all about West Ham now looking ahead to a bright and bubbly future. West Ham 4, Reading 2.
And the Liberty Stadium, where Fulham finally secured a victory on the final day of the season, moving up to 12th place, no less, Ian Hunt.
Yes, huge relief for Martin Jol, whose side bring that horrible 5-match losing streak to an end. For Swansea, well, a bitterly disappointing end to an otherwise fabulous season. A goal in the first half from Alexander Kacinicic on the break for Fulham. The second 13 minutes from time from the otherwise underemployed Dimitar Berbatov. And then just seconds before the end in stoppage time, Irby Emanuelson with the third. 3 chances, 3 goals essentially for Jol's side, whereas Swansea must have had around 90% of the second half possession without making it count. Mark Schwarzer saving from Hernandez, Flores and de Guzman. It's 1 win in 10 for Swansea at the end of the campaign. Fulham relieved ahead of a summer of change at Craven Cottage. They've gone home with a 3-0 win.
So many stories, so many players and managers we can talk about. I think we should start, though, recapping this afternoon with Arsenal's achievement at St James's Park and across the season as a whole.
Well, never mind the players and the staff. I mean, I'm exhausted here. I was kicking every ball, and all credit to them. When they lost recently, 10 games to go, they were 7 points behind Tottenham. It all looked like it was going to be Tottenham's. There's so much to admire about the Tottenham team, and for that reason, you have to say that Arsenal, what they've achieved, you know, when Wenger's job was really coming into question, there were people talking about the wisdom of this his selection process in terms of, you know, going with youth and the strategy that the club had used to still end up in the Champions League, when I think that Arsenal now really can do something big in the transfer market. That is a defining moment, I believe, in Arsene Wenger's career.
In terms of the players they can attract as well.
Well, exactly, because you need to be in that Champions League, and I believe the money's there, and I don't think it's been there in the past. I believe that Arsenal has been waiting to get to this moment, but from a Tottenham point of view, they were brilliant, and you look at Bale.
And what do we read
he's
into
one of the
that?
best
What do
players.
we read into Gareth Bale's emotions at the end of that match?
Well, I think you can read almost anything you want. I think that's the contrasting situation here. Arsenal now are in the Champions League and can attract players perhaps their neighbours can't. And one of those players they perhaps can't attract. And what Andre Villas-Boas has got to work on is convincing Gareth Bale to stay at White Hart Lane. I think that's a huge task, because no one on this panel is going to deny that he needs to be played in the Champions League.
A year ago, Theo Walcott's future was uncertain, wasn't it, at Arsenal? He's committed himself there. Should we see if we can hear from him at St James's Park? No, we're not going to hear from him just yet. We will hear from him in just a moment. But, yeah, that is going to be an interesting story that's going to run over the summer, isn't it? Gareth Bale's future, where he goes, whether he stays. Robbie's in no doubt that he should leave.
If I was Gareth Bale, I wish I was, but I'm not. That goal today...
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah,
We'd all afternoon been...
That goal today
was world class.
He's stationary.
It's world class.
There's 10 bodies in front of him. He's moved the ball, got his left foot, and he smashed it in the top corner from 25 yards. There's not many people in the world that can do that. He doesn't want to be doing that in the Europa League. He doesn't want to be doing that trying to get in the Champions League. He wants to be doing that in the Champions League.
And did his face say to you today? Do you think? Just to ask Robbie, do you think his face today said this is the end?
I think he loves Spurs in terms of the way he's played and the way he's put his heart and soul, and his performances have been amazing. I think he's disappointed they haven't qualified.
It'd be even bigger loss than Percy going, because he is the heartbeat of this club. I mean, the goals that he scores, it seems to be a player now that's at one with his ability and his confidence. He shoots from distance. The ball is doing all sorts, and to beat that goalkeeper today had to be something special. That's a truly.
He's tailor-made. He's tailor-made now
United.
for Manchester United, and David Moyes' first signing. If he's audacious enough, he can get Bale now, and Bale has every right to go.
How much money is he going to spend?
What a statement that would be from the United board. David Moyes and Gareth Bale. Wow, what a statement that would be.
How much money
I think 50-60 million.
And they're capable of that.
I think he's worth every penny of it as well. I'll say that. He is a top player.
Because suddenly they're talking about not just the Premier League title again, you're certainly talking about a possible treble again.
But Tottenham will fight to keep hold of him, and the Tottenham fans that are watching this game, they want to keep him. They don't want him to go anywhere, because Tottenham are building something special, and it's about keeping that together. When the ambition of the individual players not being matched by the team, it's difficult to hold on to players.
OK, let's get all the scores then. Here are the classified results for you. Chelsea 2, Everton 1. Liverpool 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Manchester City 2, Norwich City 3. Newcastle United 0, Arsenal 1. Southampton 1, Stoke 1. Swansea City 0, Fulham 3. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Sunderland 0. West Bromwich Albion 5, Manchester United 5. West Ham United 4, Reading 2. Wigan Athletic 2, Aston Villa 2. And the League One playoff final was won by Yeovil Town against Brentford 2-1. So congratulations to Yeovil. They'll be in the Championship next season. Let's have a little look at the SPL. Dundee United 0, Celtic 4, Ross County 1, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0, St Johnstone 2, Motherwell 0. And the Scottish First Division playoff. It was Dunfermline 1, Alloa Athletic 0, but they win 3-1 on aggregate. And the Division 2 playoff, Peterhead 0, East Fife 1. So East Fife win 1-0 on aggregate. Let's have a little look then at the final Premier League table of the season. Manchester United can't equal their best ever Premier League points total, but still finish 11 points clear of those noisy neighbours, Manchester City. Chelsea cement third spot, but the most significant news today, Arsenal clinched fourth place to book a 16th consecutive season of Champions League football. Quite an achievement. Dejected Spurs will have to go for the Europa League again. And Everton finish above Liverpool for a second successive season, the first time since the 30s that's happened. At the bottom, QPR, Reading and Wigan will all be playing Championship football next season, and it's fierce rivals Sunderland and Newcastle who finish just above the bottom three. Aston Villa end up a pretty agreeable 15th place. And a little look at the SPL. Celtic finish a whopping 16 points clear of second place Motherwell. St Johnstone finished third to snatch that Europa League qualifying spot from Inverness after they beat Motherwell earlier today, as Caledonian Thistle lost at Ross County. The bottom line is that Dundee went down. They finished the season 11 points adrift in the end of St Mirren. So do you all agree that it wasn't, in the end, the most thrilling Premier League season overall? That was what Robbie was intimating.
If you're an Arsenal fan today...
Well, today was, but just generally...
Yeah, just a word there for Keown, the goal scorer today for Arsenal. Not only was he magnificent at the back, but he came to the fore today as a leader, which Arsenal have been calling for. Yeah. Characters, leaders, they're
You don't want to dwell on the negativity of this season, do you? You want to push on and see Keown there for next season.
Listen, no, Arsenal need to win a trophy, and that's a disappointment, a continued disappointment. But if you're going to pick the bones out of it, then I think Keown and Mertesacker as a partnership have been
What I was going to say, though, as well, is the bottom half of the table being so tight, so many of those teams still involved till the final day. Was there a lowering across the board in standard this season?
No, not for me. Norwich are outstanding at Manchester City.
Today, though, I'm talking about across the season.
Oh, beg your pardon, across the season. I think we're also disappointed in the sort of the top 3 or 4. We didn't have the tightness. There was no last minute finish like last season. It was very difficult to repeat to emulate that season. But nevertheless, what I like about this is that although United have won the league by a counter, the integrity of the league, I think, has remained intact. You know, Sunderland today were magnificent. OK, Newcastle ran out of steam. Spurs were going for it. There were still lots going on, but I suppose the Man City, the Manchester United battle for that first spot, and Chelsea just didn't happen this year.
I think next year it'll be the same. I think it'll be United, Chelsea, City.
You don't see any interlopers?
I think Liverpool could be the surprise package if they could add 1 or 2.
Oh, no, that's a real jinx for them after you say QPR could be the surprise package this season, isn't it?
I think, Gabby, I think what amazed us more recently was to see that the likes of Southampton were started to pick up and win games. Aston Villa came from nowhere, when I know that Robbie looked like they were down, but that was almost, they looked like they were dead and buried at one stage. So to see teams re-emerge and to collect and come out, that was no easy feat.
Fulham have had to get themselves in gear because they were at one stage in trouble. And it's sort of, a few weeks ago, Berbatov had down tools. He picked them back up again and he's playing again.
Everton finishing above Liverpool for the second successive season. David Moyes leaving, of course, but that's a great way to leave them, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, as I say, I just feel that he is a great manager and he's going to a great club. So it'll be interesting to see if they can turn that into continued success. And that's the challenge for next season, that you've got to want to snatch that away from Manchester United. There's that aura that surrounds that football club.
Still, that gap is interesting, isn't it? Between Tottenham and Everton, 72 points Tottenham ended up on, and Everton on 63. There's still that big gap there between them. And then again,
middle
between
band.
Liverpool and West Brom, there's another 12 points.
The middle band, and you've got to spend a significant amount of money to break into that top 5. You look at those top 5 and the wages they pay, the purchases they make, it's significant. And I think this is what will irk Tottenham fans and Daniel Levy, that he's invested that money and he's missed out on the Champions League.
I think it'll be the top 6 next year with Liverpool going into the top 6 teams, and the rest
break
will
away
be...
from the rest. Yeah. Let's hear some reaction then from White Hart Lane captain Michael Dawson.
Gutted. After hearing the roars on the terraces, I thought Newcastle were winning, and then it was down to us the way we were pushing on, and we got the goal, and then all of a sudden it went flat again. And towards the end, I thought, I got that feeling that things weren't going so great up at St James's, and we've missed out. It's another hard day to take, but you look at the season, we've had 72 points, a club record, and still to miss out on the Champions League, it's a massive disappointment.
Spurs never seem to have much luck on the final day, do they?
No, it seems to be. It's a long, hard season. We can't just look at today. We put ourselves in that position. It was in Arsenal's hand, and they took advantage. We were just hoping they were going to slip up, but they didn't, unfortunately.
You're not happy with him taking some kind of solace from the record points?
Michael Dawson says, and I understand the point he's making. A record number of points doesn't mean you get in the Champions League. If the team before you, ahead of you, got more, that was the main objective. They've missed out. And the implications for that missing out in the Champions League is, can they keep their best players? Because every year, a manager has to look about attracting, if you're in the top 4, the very best players. Why? Champions League or not, must have preference over those that are not in the Champions League. And Spurs are saddled with that problem. I think they're not in the Champions League.
It's interesting. Look, we talked a lot about managers and that little run-in that's came along, and you look at Benitez's experience, you look at Wenger's experience. They've all been the course before Champions League. For Villas-Boas, who I feel has improved immensely, he was just short of getting what he needed to do to get into that Champions League. But they're building for the future. But Gareth Bale staying is imperative for them to get into that top 4. You can't take your best player away and they expect to do it.
3 quarters of the season, Spurs were the better team than Arsenal. But Arsenal's running.
I think it's
massive congratulations to Arsenal, by the way. You're right, and his experience. When the more and more you think about it, for Arsene Wenger to do that season after season is unbelievable, really.
If I'm Gareth Bale's representatives, I've got to start looking to Champions League, and Spurs aren't one of the teams.
Yeah, correct.
Is the team in this country? Would he go
I think the perfect fit, as Garth said, United.
Man United.
Yeah.
Man United. It's all day, every day. And it would be
whether they can afford Barcelona.
It would be a great start for David Moyes. What a start for him to land that purchase, to start to build a team around the likes of Van Persie and Bale. And if Rooney is stupid enough not to want to be a part of that, let him go.
I think what they've got to do, Tottenham, they've got to look really, what's the icing on the cake? How can they get into that top 4? And it's obviously Gareth Bale you keep, but it's adding to that. Was Adebayor already switched on for enough of the season? Did Defoe score enough goals? There are areas of the field which they improved. Dembele, I thought, was an excellent signing. Sigurdsson as well. So they've added well, but they just need a bit more quality in the final third.
Ruthlessness as well.
Interesting, some of the signs were being brought out this afternoon at Stamford Bridge. A couple suggesting forgiveness for Benitez. I mean, what does Rafa Benitez have to beg for forgiveness for?
Honestly, I just think that, you know, it's hypocritical at times as Chelsea fans to put banners like that when you've booed him at home all season. You know, the guy's just won the Europa League, got you the Champions League. What an achievement from Rafa Benitez under such hard circumstances.
Surely going to pick up a top job as well next season now.
You think so, yeah?
Well, I mean, no one's mentioning him with Everton. You know, could he go?
I did Everton. I said Everton. Be good.
Could he go there as being a Liverpool manager? But he's top drawer. He's underlined how good he is, and I think we knew that all along.
He might want to go somewhere he feels a bit more loved at the start.
Well, he dealt with that superbly well, didn't he?
It
took a month to
very well.
get into it.
It rattled him a little bit, didn't it? But eventually he just seemed to learn how to deal with it. Managers coming to their interview positions. We'll be hearing reaction from managers and from players, of course. But let's go first to St James's Park and hear from Arsene Wenger talking to Steve Wilson.
Arsene, you've done it. Is your immediate emotion one of relief or joy, or what is it?
Relief, because we imagined, of course, being straight in the Europa League was not our target, and joy as well, because the attitude, the fantastic resilience of the team has been rewarded. And when you're responsible in sport, you want, when the attitude is right, to be rewarded. And this group of players has been absolutely exceptional with the attitude, with the focus, with the determination.
When you lost at Tottenham at the beginning of March, it looked like a turning point. Actually, it seemed to galvanise your group.
And you cannot say that Tottenham had a bad run-in, you know, but we just refused to give in and went from game to game. And we didn't lose a game since. We won basically all the away games. And we came back in a very, very convincing way. That shows you that is something special within this group.
How anxious were you at half-time? Because your side has played a lot better than they did in the first half.
Yeah, we had to deal with Newcastle and with the nerves. And we played a little bit in control, but with a handbrake. And I told them that we have to play more free, with more freedom, with more at a higher tempo. But after, when we scored again, it became a little bit control. But the resilience is so big that we managed to get through, and we restricted them to very little chances in the second half.
And of course, it didn't matter in the end. Theo hit the post when you knew then Gareth Bale had scored for Tottenham. Yeah. Theo missed that chance. It could have been slightly different.
Yeah, at that moment, I hoped that we will not be punished for that, because we have seen that so many times in the game, and that we escaped one or twice with balls around the box that we won. And overall, we kept going and won. That was the most important.
Yeah, I know you're a huge fan, and boys just talking kind of off camera there about, actually, when you put it into context, 16 successive seasons of Champions League football is very impressive.
And that brings with it a pressure. But I feel that he's managed himself beautifully, really, negotiated all these very difficult fixtures for Arsenal. They got ever difficult as it went along. And I think more than ever, he's had to really get the best from this group to make it happen. And he's been stretched because maybe the quality of the player is not quite where it was in the past. So that's great, you know. It's even more praise to the manager to be able to do that. Although they're his players, I feel that now they'll go and they'll add to the squad and bring the necessary tools for him to be much more successful in the future. And he needs to win a trophy next season.
I think playing Theo Walcott down the middle at times has helped him massively. I think Theo Walcott's been fantastic this season.
Well, he's been without a centre forward. Giroud was back today, 3 games suspended. He puts Podolski down the middle. He hasn't done that all season. They've all had a little go there, but they need a prolific goal scorer, probably 2, for them to be a real threat next season.
I agree with Robbie. I think Walcott has been outstanding in his goal threat and his goals he's got this season. To add to his performances, on some occasions he's been blistering.
Will they? Do you think he'll have his shopping list ready, where he wants to go and acquire?
I think so, because the criticism that he's come under, everybody is fighting for the same set of players, though. That's the problem. I think Chelsea might be looking for some of their targets. It depends what happens, but I think he'll do his business early. He'll get his group together, but that's renewed the confidence that the fans have had in the manager for him to get to Champions League. I know that people are saying it's not success winning the Champions League, but it is. It keeps the pot boiling, and they can build for the future.
If Arsene Wenger was to be audacious, for example, to go for someone like Falcao, pay 30-40 million, everybody would just explode and think, crikey, Arsenal's serious at last for going for the title. Oh, exactly. It's that sort of... And that's what I think he needs to do. Someone like that can transform the season and the club.
Falcao wouldn't go there, would he? He'd go to Chelsea, City, United before Arsenal.
But that's part of the convincing. Can you convince someone like that? If you can do that, you're cooking with gas.
Well, the one thing, I guess, the advantage you have if you're Arsene Wenger is saying there's stability here. Let's go to Stamford Bridge, where there's been anything but, I guess, in managerial terms in recent seasons. And Jonathan, with them securing third place today, but saying goodbye to two managers there at Stamford Bridge, that's got to be a consideration, hasn't it? If as Martin says, you are looking at the... I think, just picking up on Jonathan's point there, for me, his stock's risen because of the way he handled it. It's one thing getting the best out of Torres, getting your Champions League place and your Europa Cup place, but actually his dignity speaks volumes, doesn't it? The kind of person he would be employing.
I think Rafa Benitez is back in business. When he went to Inter, he had a real shaking to his career. He really struggled. I think his stock has risen, as you say, and I think he, not just in this country, but more importantly in Europe, I think he's a manager worth purchasing.
I think very often you put people in difficult situations and you see what they're really made of. But I think a lot of us believe Benitez was an excellent manager anyway. The club, he's big enough for that club. It's a difficult job to take. And Mourinho looks like the perfect marriage, doesn't it? Chelsea and Mourinho. Whether he'll be there for much longer than another couple of years, Gabby, I'm sure there'll be fireworks, there'll be trophies perhaps. But it'll all make it very interesting next season if he's there.
Because it's not that long ago when there was a very bad part in the ways between Chelsea and Mourinho. It was like a bad divorce. They're getting back together again. And do you know what? I think it's convenience, this. I don't really think... Martin touched on it earlier. And he said, be careful what you wish for. And, he might not be the man that he was or the manager that he was. He's had a very bad year. But I can't help feeling that this is a forced relationship again.
Second comings don't always work, do they?
There's something forced about this. And I think, maybe Chelsea fans better, might be careful what they wish for.
Is he the special one anymore? Because he's coming back after the worst season of his career. And he's not quite the same Mourinho. He's not quite as confident. I think he'll make big changes, though, if he does come.
And that will great.
OK, let's move on to another of today's retiring players. Jamie Carragher waved goodbye to Anfield today. He's talking to Alistair Mann.
Well, Jamie, you said you'd managed to avoid tears. Have you managed to do it?
Yeah, just about. It's an emotional day for myself, my friends and family. But the important thing was to get a win. Finish on a good performance and a win for my last game, which was nice. And that's what we've managed to do.
You jumped for a header with your arm up. You hit the post. It was almost the fairy tale ending, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just needed the penalty, didn't we, late on? But it wasn't to be. I mean, scored on my debut 15, 16 years ago. Would have been nice to finish that way, but as I said, wasn't to be. It was a couple of inches out.
Maybe you should have had more shots from range during your career.
I know, I'm just getting the hang of it now. My last game, aren't I, shooting? So it's something that's come a bit late for me.
What were your thoughts, though, when you came out, the Liverpool players, the QPR players lining up, everybody there for you? I know you ordinarily don't like to be the centre, but you knew you would be today.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not just me. There's been lots of players. I think this weekend, obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson, so there's been a lot of it in the media, the build-up. That's the way it was going to be, and I knew that before, so it was just important that I tried to stay focused on the game and not let it all catch up with me, really, and affect my performance. So just fortunate enough, we got a win and stop QPR scoring.
Just as proud as the clean sheet as the first one you ever got?
Yeah, that's our job. I mean, we got one today, probably should have got a few more. It wasn't to be, so we've got to make sure we do our job at the end and make sure we get the 3 points.
Just one thought. There's been a tradition of centre-halves who've gone on to be pundits. You might know one or two. How do you fancy that task when it comes to you?
Well, I'll have a go next season. I love me football and, I'll see where it takes me. You never know how long it'll last, but looking forward to it.
And you think perhaps a bit too soon, though?
Well,
close the door.
The way that he loves the football club, he is a Liverpool disciple, and I would have embraced him perhaps more and tried to keep him there. I don't know how hard Brendan Rodgers worked to keep him there, but he's everything that epitomises Liverpool, isn't it? The way that you think of Istanbul when he was on that pitch, riddled with cramp, putting those blocks in. And all doing it because he loved the club. And I don't think we should allow those people to go too soon.
Sir Alex Ferguson perhaps has used to keep those senior players who are integral to the ethos of the club there is to be admired, isn't it? If you can keep them not just as tokens, but as...
That's something that a big manager has done, isn't it? They're not frightened to keep these individuals there, and maybe Brendan wanted to go a different direction. I don't even know if he was offered a new contract, but I feel he still has something to offer. We respect, though, his wishes to retire, and he's been a great servant for Liverpool Football Club.
I think as a player, you know when the time's right. Yeah. And Jamie obviously thinks, this is my time. He doesn't want to go and play down the leagues. What's the point?
Doesn't want to play anywhere else.
Yeah, so he knows.
OK. Let's check in at the Etihad then. Steve Bauer has been there today. Manchester City, of course, defeated by Norwich in the end. What a damp squib. What a kind of fizzle out for the season it has been for Manchester City after losing their title, losing their manager, losing the FA Cup. How did it feel today?
Felt very strange. When I spoke to you before the game, Gabby, I said it was a strange, eerie atmosphere because of Roberto Mancini being on the lips of a lot of Manchester City fans, and straight away an awful lot of banners were out. Some people have gone to a great deal of length as well, and some famous quotes from Julius Caesar and all the rest of it, and then a lot of Mancini chants early on, and I think that got through to the players because Manchester City players were flat. They didn't really have the right attitude and the right application, and full credit to Norwich when you see it later on. They deserve to win, and they've played without the pressure on, the freedom and the shackles off, and won by Johnny Housen with a spectacular individual goal from inside his own half, so they finish on a high. But Manchester City, as you say, have had a really acrimonious end to the season, in stark contrast to a year ago when, remember, Roberto Mancini was given that 5-year contract as a title winner. Now they have to act quickly. It would be a major surprise if it wasn't Manuel Pellegrini, from what we're hearing, once La Liga's finished, and try and get the plans in place to go again next season. It's going to be fascinating on this half of Manchester what activity is done in the transfer market. Of course, they want to build right from the bottom throughout the whole club with the Barcelona duo as well, and they have to try and get this out of their system and look forward now. But today the fans were certainly, as I say, chanting with the minds on Roberto Mancini, and the players didn't give them anything to feed off, and it was, as you say, a damp squib end to Manchester City in a very frustrating season.
Thank you. Enjoy your rest period. We're almost time up here. I guess final thoughts on the season, Garth?
Sorry to see Sir Alex leaving. Great to see David Moyes arriving at Old Trafford. I think in the final analysis, the league doesn't lie, and the way it's finished is the way it was meant to finish.
Well done to Aston Villa. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Martin?
Congratulations to Arsene Wenger and his team today. Absolutely amazing how they've managed to stay in the Champions League
Thank
again.
you all for being so quick on your quick points. Let's have a little look at then the final results on this final day of the Premier League season. Chelsea with a 2-1 win over Everton. Liverpool 1-0. Manchester City beaten 3-2. Newcastle beaten 1-0 by Arsenal. Southampton 1, Stoke 1. Swansea 0, Fulham 3, Tottenham 1, Sunderland 0. West Brom 5, Manchester United 5. An incredible scoreline there to bring the curtain down on quite an incredible career. Sir Alex Ferguson's last ever match. They were 3-0 up after half an hour, but Lukaku hat-trick was the backbone of a thrilling Baggies comeback. West Ham 4, Reading 2. It was a goal fest at Upton Park as well, and Kevin Nolan with a hat-trick. What's going to happen with Andy Carroll? We haven't even touched on that, have we? Wigan 2, Aston Villa 2. A rare start for Darren Bent, and he managed to grab a goal as well. And the final Premier League table of the season, well, it's Arsenal who were the big talking point today with that 4th place. They're playing Champions League football next season. At the bottom, QPR, Reading and Wigan will be playing Championship football next season. Fierce rivals Sunderland and Newcastle finished just above the bottom 3. And you'll be able to see highlights of all 10 Premier League matches tonight on Match of the Day with Gary, Alan, Hansen and Shearer on BBC One and BBC One HD at 10:25. Of course, if you want your say as well, you can listen to Final Score, where Robbie's hot-footing it, yes, in just a moment. That's it from all of us. Thank you so much, guys, for your company today, over the past few months and the past 4 years. Yes, it's my final moment in the Final Score hot seat. So thank you for your company. Come back next year, though. It'll be just as good, I'm sure. Well, almost as good. Take care. Have a great summer. I hope your team pleased you this season. If not, there's always next time. Bye-bye.
Charlie cry, I
just dream.